不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
We are going to have a potential catch onto Genie, and Smurf actually hits the range. Gemini charges in, Top King dueling it out against Genie and into the back line. And that's a triple kill for the Akali! Just assassinates the entire back line. Goodbye, Quadra! Is that the Penta? Come on, you have to give it to him. Blaze can't really make it that far away. Genie is charging in to get the stun down. There is the Penta kill for the...
Tries to do it, but Maple, however, as I say that, will be using them for a survive. But however, Hunter is so tanky. The 3-man Cyclone, Breath doing bits on this monkey, but it is not enough. And resets City for Unified, gets the double kill, gets the triple kill, looks for the Quadra. Could this be a penta kill? Unified!
But yeah, I mean, the beautiful Super Mega Death Rocket into the Gale Force, execute damage, and a double execution there, completely delete Atman from someone's face. What a steal! I mean, Machi, like, they decide to start this Baron. I mean, it was a pretty good call, given how Jinx is nowhere near the Baron pit, and then the Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide. I mean, it was almost a steal from the Super Mega Death Rocket. PSG actually coming in on a fight.
With Dragon on Yone lands a little bit of a nice Q3. Cooler full squad will be used. Corki is taken down. Maple, however, lands the double ultimate, only tagging one with the unfortunate that being used. And now Driver is left with the remaining 5 members of PS.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这件英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CDBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
We are gonna have a potential catch onto Genian. Smurf actually hits the range. Gemini charges in. Top King dueling it out against Genian into the back line. And that's a triple kill for the Akali. Just assassinates the entire back line.
Wait,
Goodbye, Quadra. Is that the Penta? Come on, you have to give it to him. Blaze can't really make it that far away. Genian is charging in to get the stun down. There is the Penta kill for the
Tried to do it, but Maple, however, as I say that, will be using them for a survive. But however, Hunter is so tanky. The three-man Cyclone, Breath doing bits on this monkey, but it is not enough. And resets City for Unified, gets the double kill, gets the triple kill, looks for the Quadra. Could this be a pentakill? Unified!
But yeah, I mean, the beautiful Super Mega Death Rocket into the Gale Force, execute damage, a double execution there, completely delete Atman from someone's face. What a steal! I mean, Machi, like, they decide to start this Baron. I mean, it was a pretty good call, given how Jinx is nowhere near the Baron pit, and then the Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide. I mean, it was almost a steal from the Super Mega Death Rocket. The PSG actually coming in on a fight.
Oh, dragging up Yone lands. A little bit of a nice Q3. Cooler Full Squad will be used. Corki is taken down. Maple, however, lands the double ultimate, only tagging one with unfortunate that being used. And now Driver is left with the remaining 5 members of PSG.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这件英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CDBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是办了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Okada denies him passage with the pillar. Once again, it's a triple kill for Lil B.
Legends will rise indeed. Welcome back to the Pacific Championship Series. My name is Clement Chu. I'm going to be your host and play-by-play for the day. On my right is the ever so handsome Verbatim, and we are going to take you through a exciting series in the lower bracket between the 3rd seed in Machi X versus the 8th seed in Hong Kong Attitude coming up.
Yeah, it'll be the battle to see who versus J-Team tomorrow, so super highly contested match. I think this will be the closest series in the playoffs so far for the PCS. I think these two teams are quite evenly matched, especially with Kong Yue really bringing Hong Kong Attitude into form, so I'm really excited to see how Gemini can match up against him.
You've already mentioned the star players on both teams. It is a showdown between the junglers coming up. Today's matches is going to be L4 on the bottom side of your screen. This is going to be the loser bracket match. So previously, these teams have either won from their start, because Hong Kong Attitude, coming in as the last seed in playoffs, had to face a little bit more trials and tribulations, defeating the higher seed in Boom Esports to get here, while Machi X took down Impunity relatively quickly, but dropped to Beyond Gaming 3-1. I would say that Machi X has had a bit of a rockier playoffs than many people have expected.
Yeah, for Machi X going into the Beyond Gaming series, people, myself included, were expecting that series to go most likely the full 5 games. I didn't really favor them beating Beyond Gaming, but I thought they would push it to the 5. Getting a win against Beyond Gaming is good for them, but even against Impunity, they didn't look their best. So against Hong Kong Attitude, an opponent that will not waver, will not falter very easily, Machi X have to bring their A game today if they want to continue their run in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them. They finally have to prove their worth coming up against Hong Kong Attitude. On the other hand, for HKA, it's been an interesting series versus Boom Esports. I think a lot of people had Boom favored over Hong Kong Attitude because they were the higher seed. But Hong Kong Attitude came in. Bivin had a really good showing. His LeBlanc is back on 11.6. He's doing well with the champion. And Kongyue stole Baron. So they were able to sneak that win against Boom Esports and arrive here potentially for another upset. What is their outlook coming into this one?
For Hong Kong Attitude, they are definitely coming in with some blazing form. Having the pressure of having to win so many games consecutively coming into the playoffs, and always having that threat of, if we lose this series, we're out. And that, playing with that pressure, you begin to get used to it and you begin to favor it, and that's something that Hong Kong Attitude are thriving in, and it definitely showed with Bivin pulling out his LeBlanc, a pick that is so explosive and so risky, because if you fall behind on the champion, you feel like a caster minion, you feel like a chain bot. So it was great stuff from Bivin to pop off on the champ, and I'm excited to see if he has anything else that he's willing to pop out this series.
Going through the roster for the first time, it's going to be Rock in the top side. Kongyue, like we've mentioned so many times, in the jungler position, your previous MVP. And then we do have Bivin in the mid lane. This guy's known for Syndra, for LeBlanc. Those are his go-to champions. Meanwhile, in the bot, we do have Wing and Eminem. These are the previous understudies to Unified and Kai Wing. So one of our stronger hyper carry and lane dominant duos coming in. All focus, as you might expect, is on Kongyue. He's been great on the Hecarim. He's going for damage dealers like Graves and Lilia, and he's carrying the team. In the other end, we do have Machi Esports coming in as the higher seed. Likai in the top side, Gemini in the jungle, my personal MVP of the split. Jimian in the mid lane, 2 previous MVPs against Impunity, and the bot lane of Atlan and Koala.
Yeah, looking at Machi X, you really focus on Gemini and Jimin as 2 of the real pop-off players, as well as Atlan. To be honest, they're one of the teams that have a super strong roster, and they had a bit of a rocky start, but throughout the season they are playing much better. Playoffs hasn't been ideal for them, but they are looking to continue to progress through. And I think when I look at Jimian, I look at his ability to play he has a champion like Ocean. He's played fighters, he's played mages, he's played Renekton as well in the mid lane. And with his Yone, he actually has a 100% win rate and a 20 KDA in the regular season. So I have a feeling that MarchieX has some weird and wacky mid picks prepared for Jimian.
Taking a look at the team head-to-head stats, we can tell that MarchieX is the far more dominant early game team. GDF 1500 compared to the 150 coming out from Hong Kong Attitude, and the Dragon rate is almost 30% higher. So we should expect a lot of early action from MarchieX, and for Kongyue to need to defend against that aggression.
When you look at these stats, and especially the gold difference, it's actually very impressive for Hong Kong Attitude, a team, remember, who is 6-13, only won 6 games, and actually has a positive gold difference. That shows leaps and bounds how well they bounce back and how they're actually quite a positive early game team. Because when you lose 13 matches, you will have bad statistics comparatively to a team that has won 14. So it's actually quite impressive just to see Hong Kong Attitude aren't too bad in the stats. And I feel like between the teams, especially in the playoffs and especially in the later half of the season, it is closer than the stats say.
Definitely would have to agree with you. Their early game laning phase has actually been some of their brightest spots on Hong Kong Attitude, but when it comes to mid-game, that Baron control is pretty atrocious from Hong Kong Attitude. We even saw in the Boom series them giving over a Baron for free, basically. So we'll see how they hold up post 20 minutes. For MarchieX, they're going to take away the Olaf, Kongyue's best champion career-wise, and also making sure Bivin does not get his LeBlanc. On Hong Kong Attitude side, this is full bans onto basically Jimian, Revolution, and Silas going to be taken away, and then Kaisa away from Atlan, who has played 5 games of it in the postseason already.
Yeah, Hong Kong Attitude leaving up the Hecarim and forcing MarchieX to potentially ban this one out because, as we've seen so far in the PCS, it's basically the first pick blue side Hecarim almost every single game, as Twisted Fate is banned out from Bivin, his most played champion in the regular season. I'm expecting them to pick the Hecarim, they do pick it, and now MarchieX has to answer. They have to have something prepared. They know that this is most likely what the blue side's going to pick. This can be, you can leave your jungle to be third pick, making sure that you have something later in the draft. But I feel like drafting a very strong bot lane, maybe something like a Tristana and a Rel, could be really important for MarchieX to get an edge in that lane.
Both the Thresh and the Rel are up, so that support pick is really important to see where they're going to go. MarchieX traditionally has not been one of those front-to-back team fighting focused teams. They are much more about 1-3-1 split pushing and also just creating picks. So going for the Thresh is interesting. We did see Atlan have a Jinx game, but it didn't really work out as intended. Now we are going to see the Renekton being locked in as a second bit. Potential flex between Jimian and Likai on the table.
Yeah, Jimian's already shown 1 game of Renekton so far in the split, so this is a flex pick. Seeing the blind pick Renekton, if your name is not MarchieX, it can feel really restrictive, but definitely has flex potential, most likely going to be seen on the Likai. With Rella, definitely will be Hong Kong Attitude picking that one up for themselves, pairing it with the Tristana most likely. The Draven being hovered, I would be really excited to see it, but I highly doubt it will be anything besides a Tristana. Perhaps maybe a Xayah. The Kalista could be very exciting as well. Super early game focus if they do pick this one up. We've gone back to the Tristana. So most likely going to be that one. Something else would have been kind of crazy, but this now leaves MarchieX quite far down the 80 carry order. Something like a Xayah is going to be picked, and if they don't select a jungler or an 80 carry here, the other will just be banned out quite heavily. So it leaves MarchieX in quite an awkward spot. Picking a flex pick for their top mid is now restricting the pool at which potentially they're allowing Atlan to pick into.
So we are going to get the Nidalee coming out, a Gemini-focused strategy against Kongyue. I like this. If you're going to send your best player up against the potentially best jungler in the league, you want him to be on something strong. But like you mentioned, like the AD carry potential is really low here. Like against Tristana, you're thinking about things like maybe Ezreal, maybe Sivir. You're really having to stray quite far off the path to find something like that. And we are taking a close zoom in on this mouse pad here coming in from Rock. I'm not sure exactly what we're seeing, but those look like legs to me.
Yeah, I think Rock's got his waifu giving him power and strength through this one. But as we can
zoom in.
I know, definitely a fun one, a sight you never really see, focusing on the mouse pad, but it is Hong Kong Attitude pinching the pool of Atlan with the Jinx band, most likely going to be something like a Zarya band out as well. Zarya Thresh can be quite lethal, very safe lane, but lots of lockdown to assist a Nidalee gank, and it will be the Aatrox and the Scion band out against Rock. He's looked really good on both the champions thus far. He's able to play both carry and tank top laners, but it will be a Kali band out for Jimmy and then Felios Hover. That's a champion that, especially earlier on in the season, in the split, Thresh of Felios had a lot of priority, so this is actually a really good lane that MachiX could be drafting for themselves.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't try to take away double hyper carries, but leaving Aphelios up for Machi X into our Hong Kong Attitude, they could potentially be flexing this Tristana, so I do expect a top laner here, or mid laner. Basically, the soul lanes have to come out at this point. We are going to see the Gnar cover. It is going up against a Renekton, but also the potential of a Nidalee coming out to gank assist. So it's going to be strong in lane, but somewhat weak in the early game, and Hong Kong Attitude still needs to round this out with a mid laner. Azir is up for them. That's been sort of Biven's go-to after the lack of both Akali and LeBlanc out. Orianna would fill the role quite well as well. So we have seen the Shockwave plus Onslaught of Shadows combo coming out into the backline, very effective.
Yeah, like we do see the Orianna picked up. It was really, realistically, only the Azir and the Orianna, or the Victor rather, that are in that pool of control mages. And MachiX they'll see the Orianna and they'll quite confidently pick this Azir. It is a hover just yet, but I'm assuming they will be picking this one up. Tried and true lane gets a nice little bit of poke down with the Sand Soldiers in the early game, but really not much kill pressure until potentially a 6, and you do get the Emperor's Divide, but on the other hand, you do have the threat of a Shockwave turning a fight if you get too crazy, so I don't think this mid lane will have a lot of explosiveness. I think the bot lane is where both teams have really drafted themselves, especially Hong Kong Attitude. You have that Rel Hecarim combo, lots of CC, lots of lockdown, and you have the rocket jump to jump into the fight as well.
Yeah, we are going to see how this one actually works out. At the end, both teams selecting for hyper-scaling AD carries and going for hyper-scaling mid laners as well. So we should expect a colossal team fight in the late game. But as for the early game, I do sort of favor Machi X here. They do have the two pushing lanes on their side. So Hong Kong Attitude, they have to play for survival before the 15-minute mark here.
Yeah, and with that survival, like you were mentioning with the Renekton Nidalee, that is a super strong early game combo. You have the threat of the Renekton stunning you up, you have the trap from the Nidalee allowing the spear to land, and that's a really hard thing for you to get away from. You have, and that's so much damage coming out, especially early game, like a level 3 gank from Nidalee if she paths up from the bot side to the top. That's something that you have to be so careful of as the Gnar, because if you're unable to hop successfully away before the stun lands, that's a spear to the face, and that's potentially first blood.
Yeah, we have seen that combo so many times. Just the tower dive coming, Ruthless Predator straight up with the Javelin Toss. Mini Gnar early levels is just going to evaporate to that combo. In the meantime, I really wonder if this is the best comp for Machi X. We have not seen them succeed on these sort of late game front to back teamfight comps, especially not against Beyond Gaming. So again, Machi X, I feel like this is a very safe composition, but it's not exactly their forte. Who do you have coming out of game 1 here?
For game 1, looking at the drafts, from a pure team and team comp drafting sense, I do give it to Machi X. I really like how they've drafted the Aphelios, they've drafted the Azir, super late game carries. But I feel like it really comes down to, is Hong Kong Attitude going to be able to break open the Aphelios? Because he is quite vulnerable. Realistically, only has the Lantern and the Thresh Flay to peel for him. So I feel like I do favor Machi X, but they also have the risk of potentially getting that bot lane cracked open and having Eminem take over the Rift.
So it is. I assume that we are in game right now, but we are having a little bit of technical difficulties getting into the actual screen on our side. Okay, there we go. Finally, we are back into game. We're going to be taking a look at the runes here. Gemini going for that electrocute. So, interesting rune choice here. Walk me through what you see out of the Machi side, as we have both the mid and jungle going for rather curious rune selections.
Yeah, looking at the electrocute, the Nilly is looking to one-shot, basically. She's looking to do so much damage with that javelin toss into jumping on you with the in the Cougar form. So she's looking to do that one-shot combo damage early on onto the Na. You see the comment as well on the Azir, that's highlighting, trying to poke down the Orianna. You do have the early push priority playing Azir, you have the Sand Soldiers. So really drafting for lane dominance on Jimmy's side and looking for early game damage on Gemini's side.
We are going to get double leash starts from both sides. Now, I do want I do kind of wonder why this is. They're really interesting. It's almost, we almost never see both sides giving a leash towards their jungler and just forgoing the bottom side priority.
Yeah, both teams really want to protect this highly volatile top side, especially when you have the Nidalee Renekton combo. Rock's really got to play safe, and he really needs Kong Yue to go to shadow him in that top side and fight for that top scuttle crab, because if whatever team's able to get that objective, they will have that little bit extra safety and protection for their top laner, which will either allow Rock to know when Gemini is coming, if he's just able to ward the Tribe Rush, or it'll allow Lekai to play so much more offensively, especially on the red side, where there's only one avenue for you to gank from if your name's Hecarim, and that is through the river.
Yeah, it's actually very difficult for the Hecarim to avoid the scuttle, plus just like the brush ward. If you do those two things, it's like Hecarim doesn't really have any ability to go for you. Koala is going to cancel out the trade. Very well done on the Flay, making sure the crashdown doesn't happen. And we're going to see Gemini using that priority in his solo lanes to start attacking Kongyue. He finds the first javelin toss over the wall. That was pretty amazing, actually. And it is going to force Kongyue to walk away from his own camps. He is going to be losing out on the topside scuttle, and most likely the Grump as well. Meanwhile, Lekai just making sure Rock goes low. He has the wave pushing in, and this is very uncomfortable for the mini-Nard. Gemini is coming in, and our stream has just cut out, so we will be back shortly to find out if Rock actually survives this one. You know, we are going to be coming back. That was a bit of a cliffhanger there.
I mean, straight away we saw the power of the electrocute Nidalee. Like, you land the javelin toss, you pounce on them in Cougar form, and that's like 2/3 of Hecarim's health bar already gone, and it forces Gemini to forces a Kongyue to have to respect the Nidalee and run away, and that is allowing Gemini to set up the top lane dive, which a quick game. Let's play a game. Is that first blood?
Yes, I think yes. I think 100%. Nara's down to about 60% HP. Flash plus Ruthless Predator. If he just waits on the javelin toss, it's 100% kill.
Who gets the first blood, if thus? Is it Gemini?
It should be Gemini. I think it's Gemini most likely, just because he has the pounce and like the execute.
You know.
Yep, first blood. There we go.
You have the script.
I know, like it's just so easy to predict. Like, I think Rock actually overtraded with Renekton. Like, it's actually very hard for him to avoid the trade. That's also true. But like taking about 50% of your HP in melee does not bode well for your chances against that game. But we are going to see Hecarim actually come up here. We're still having a little bit of a lag on our end, so we're kind of casting from a slideshow at this point. We're going to have to get on our divination hats and sort of just kind of predict the movements out of these players at this point. I'm really sorry to our viewers about this situation, but we're going to try and do our best. So far, Machi X actually just starting out onto the Drake immediately here. Seems like Gemini, after that first kill, was able to rotate down here rather quickly. And this is going to be in full vision of Hong Kong attitude, but they are not going to contest this. So should be Gemini just sneaking away the first Drake, Ocean Drake as that as well. So actually quite useful for these lanes.
Yeah, definitely. Machi X have gotten themselves priority in the top and the mid side. It is Tristana who will have the push prio early on against the Aphelios, but this Ocean Dragon will allow him to heal up, him to have quite a bit of sustain against the Tristana, against her push with her explosive charges and her passive in the early game. So it will do a great deal for Atlan especially. He has gone the cleanse. Both AD carries have gone cleanse. I haven't mentioned that quite yet, so both AD carries really respecting each other's supports, and with the crash down from Rel into the attract and repel getting stunned up for so long, so much crowd control. So it's really on Atlan to be able to use the cleanse at the correct moment, because if you cleanse the crash down and then you just get stunned up, you've kind of wasted the summoner spell. So it'll be crucial to see if Atlan's able to use that at the right time. We do see Kongyue invading back onto Gemini and trying to steal back a little bit of the jungle that he got stolen in the early game before the dive happened. Good stuff from Kongyue to farm up quite well. He does have the level lead, but Gemini will ding 6 now as they are even.
Yeah, trying to get some deep vision into the opponent's jungle. We see Kongyue trying to come in. He's gonna have his sights set onto Jimian. Very interesting move by Jimian, actually trading positions with Bivin, but he's gonna take a bunch of damage, and a good flash from Bivin gets out of the javelin toss. Not sure this is a worthwhile play from the Azir. That was honestly super weird.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why Jimian feels so confident to make that happen. Even the Nidalee heal at the back end of that fight isn't enough for him to escape with his life, and he has had to use his summoner spell Flash, and it hasn't actually even saved his life either. And Lee Kai, feeling super confident, he has Na shoved quite far into his tower. The Na is answering now, but Lee Kai could be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he is going to be backing out at this point and taking the long route around. We're going to be taking a replay at that Jimian play. Was just so weird. He had full knowledge on where everyone was.
I have no idea why he feels like he needs to use the Shifting Sands into the Emperor's Divide to knock Bivin over the wall. Yes, you do force out the flash, but Kongyue's there, and he's Hecarim that's doing so much damage. The Orianna is able to just deal damage to you as well, and you're an early game Azir. You do not have the burst yet. You do not have either the Ludens or the Leondries, whichever way you do go. And you don't have the Sorcerer Shoes, so you don't have that burst damage to one-shot the Orianna. You're really just Emperor's dividing her over the wall into your Nidalee, who's not quite with you either. So I feel like a little bit of mid-jungle rift at the moment, not quite on the same page for Gemini to follow up on Jimian's play.
Yeah, that was honestly pretty baffling to see. He puts himself in the maw of the 2v1 and just dies for it. In the meantime, we saw the Hong Kong Attitude special evolve. They tried to start Herald, realized that, wait, we actually can't take the Herald in front of Gemini, who is perfectly healthy and can just toss you to death with those javelins, and they didn't have the Onslaught of Shadow, so they back out, and Machi X say thank you very much and take the Herald. That is, I have to call that a Hong Kong Attitude special. It's happened so many times in their games, but that's what we're gonna get, and both teams, honestly, off to kind of a rocky start from both sides. Not exactly the cleanest of the game plans coming out, but we're going to see how they go into the Drake fights. I think this is going to be the real telling moment from both of these teams, as they have both drafted for compositions that really want to take front to backs, want to go into the big 5v5s. So far, we do see a better setup from Hong Kong Attitude, and it looks like they're hunting for a potential pick here. Gemini's not going to entertain that. He's going to be on the other side of the map, going for potentially another dive against Rock. There is no Mega Narbar right here, and once again, he is down below 80% HP and has to leave his tower.
Yeah, Rock being completely forced off of the top tower. Gemini is going to just continue autoing down this top turret. He does have Herald if he wishes to use it, but this Mountain Dragon is spawning in the next 30 seconds, and Machi X and Gemini are going to be resetting, trying to contest this one. If they wanted to, they did take the first dragon, so they could have been able to trade potentially majority of the top turret, if not the whole thing, for a Mountain Dragon. They do not want to do that. They will reset for this Mountain Dragon. There is vision for Hong Kong Attitude around the river, around Machi X's bot side jungle, so they are aware that this is going to be happening. The Nidalee is spotted out. The pings are coming, the assist pings. So it looks like our first true fight of the game should be happening around this neutral objective in the next 30 to 40 seconds.
Gemini doing such a good job here at clearing out Vision. You can see the Vision score has just cleared out 2 wards, has that double zombies going down as well. It's always nice to see the junglers being able to utilize that quite well. And it is going to be a very hard-fought battle coming in for Vision. Both of the top laners do have their TPs. We could be getting that full 10-man fight coming in. Wing's going to pop into the enemy jungle. And really good job by Machi X here. They've cleared out so many wards. It's been 4 wards cleared in total. Hong Kong Attitude are going to start this one up, but with Machi over the wall, they don't have all of their angles covered. They're not going to be able to see Koala come over the wall as that ward is cleared, and they do have to back off as the towers are just taking them low. I've got to say, that was a very unexpected start from Hong Kong Attitude, just starting it right in front of Machi X, to be honest.
Yeah, now this gives Machi the opportunity to start up the dragon themselves, and Hong Kong Attitude are trying to find the engage, trying to find something to go. The hook will land.
The box is going to go down. They're going for the backline. Drake goes over to Machi X, but they will find the kill onto Jimian. Now we have the cavalry arriving. Wing goes down. Rock still doesn't find his Mega Gnar, and it seems like everyone has to run away from Machi X's pursuit. Javelin toss goes in, does land, but somehow Kongir survives while being marked. Machi X come out ahead, even though they give up their mid laner. They do get the objective and do trade back a single kill onto the enemy support, and now they have a great opportunity to be utilizing that Herald. We're going to take a look at that fight once more.
Yeah, as Koala lands the death sentence into the box, Wing has no choice but to engage onto Machi X's backside, and he is actually able to take down the Azir quite early. But Lee Kai is here, his teleport is stronger, and it does force Hong Kong Attitude to start turning tail and run. Nothing really can happen afterwards. Kong Yue nearly gets bursted down, but he survives on the smallest amount of health, and he does survive. And it will be Machi X taking this first tower as a result. They did hold the Shelly. They could have used it in the mid lane prior to the dragon fight to try and distract Hong Kong Attitude, make them answer the push, but smart play from Machi X. They do hold on to it, and they do get all 5 turret plates onto Atlan on this Aphelios. He will be starting to snowball and get a bit of a gold gap over Eminem on the Tristana. He will most likely beat him to the first mythic of the game. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for the Gale Force. He actually has gone for the Kraken Slayer after that reset, doing a lot more damage, especially into the tanky members such as Rock, such as Kong Yue on the Hecarim and onto the Gnar. And with those 5 plates being used, it is Atlan as the richest member on the Rift at the moment. Mr. Moneybags has 5,600 gold right now, trailed shortly by Lee Kai, but it is important that because all of those plates went over to Atlan, he actually has the lead over Eminem now, a lead of around 600 gold, so that's huge for Machi X.
Yeah, that was, it's just such a weird play from Hong Kong Attitude. I felt like they could have contested that Drake, but the way they did it, to me, made no sense. Like, they didn't have vision over the wall. They were eating a lot of poke, and they ended up just forcing themselves into a super rushed engage where the shockwave was used on the crashdown at the same time, and they hit nobody. Like, that was just like, okay, that's our full combo, and we already got poked out to start. So, yeah, have the Drake and the bottom lane. So, I think we're seeing this trend from Hong Kong Attitude is just their approach on objectives seems to be very casual, and they usually end up losing things on the backside. Now we're going to see Gemini actually being targeted out here, but he is going to take the Dark Passage. HKA unable to close the trap, and now we have a close to 10-man just NA Ram in the middle as we have Lee Kai being stunned up. The fight is ongoing. Box goes down onto the ramp. We have a lot of members being caught out by Machi X, but I can't really see the action at this point. Atlan using the Moonlight Vigil over the wall, and when the dust settles, Machi X lose their top side of the map. Both Lee Kai and Gemini down. Hong Kong Attitude will be able to take away this Herald.
Yeah, it's so rough from Machi X. They think they have the pick on Rock. You see the Death Sentence land onto the Orianna, but realistically, there's nothing that they're really doing. You see a beautiful onslaught of shadows from Wing Fears up 2 members, and that allows the resets to start, and Machi-X really have to turn tail and run. Ooh. And that is back to us.
Yep. We are having a bit of technical difficulties coming into this one. I'm really sorry about our current situation. But yeah, we are going to try to fix things from production side and maybe just try to kind of refresh everything and see if we get a smoother experience for everyone. But that was, I think, finally we saw a good engage coming out from Hong Kong Attitude. Pincering Machi-X, making sure they don't walk up the ramp, and they get 2 kills for their troubles. I'm not sure if things were smoother on your end. Maybe you can take me through the fight, or were you also casting from a slideshow?
I actually had, like, I had the opportunity to have a little bit more frames in a slideshow, so I did see actually how the fight happened. It was really well done from Hong Kong Attitude's side, because they were kind of setting up a trap for Gemini. They had him pincered and they were holding off using the stun from Rel. There was a couple of instances where they probably could have pulled the trigger on the attract and repel and stunned up the Nidalee and try and get a pick there, but they waited for the overcommit from Machi-X onto Rock, and they used that to punish into a double kill, getting more than they otherwise would have. And that was really well done, and a lot of restraint from Hong Kong Attitude. Finally, they find a really good counter engage when a proactive half engage could have happened. So really intelligent from them. It looked like a much better fight.
And when we come back into the thick of things, it looks like Hong Kong Attitude once again able to find another. Oh no, actually that was just the total amount of kills that they had, but this is going to be the 3rd Drake. Kongyu trying to find Purchase into the backline. He does get into the Drake pick, but Lee Kai escorts him out. Wing goes in with the Shockwave combination. Doesn't find the kill and actually drops himself. Now it's Machi's turn as Jimian from the flank does a ton of damage. And they sneak away the Infernal Drake, well on their way onto the Infernal Soul this early into the game. Hong Kong Attitude, they do have that combo executed quite well, but not the follow-up damage to actually find the kills.
Eminem just nearly soloing down Gemini really lets us know that we are into this mid-game, and this Tristana is feeling super confident. Hang on, Kongwei could have caught Atlan here.
Atlan is just going to be taken back into the enemy composition, and just out of nowhere, he drops. Koala wasn't around, no Dark Passage. Great find coming in from Hong Kong Attitude. But the big question is, can they actually survive? Eminem takes the flay and the spear, but he is fine right now. This is a AD carry that's standing tall despite of that Yordle stature.
Yeah, like we see the 0-2-2 scoreline on the Azir really doesn't showcase how much Jimin was able to do in that fight. He did so much damage, poking down the whole side of Machi-X with the Sand Soldiers and really making it difficult for them to commit to the play on the Dragon. And especially when Wing gets picked out, Hong Kong Attitude have to run away. They really can't contest it. And that allows the 3rd Dragon to go over to Machi-X and Soul Point as well. So Hong Kong Attitude, who have kind of looked tentative, not wanting to commit to anything on these Dragons, really have to fight over this next neutral objective. Because giving an Infernal Soul over to an Azir, over to a Nidalee and an Aphelios is just complete disaster.
Yeah, it definitely feels pretty bad, and I don't like the nitpick, but I feel like Hong Kong Attitude, if they actually just coordinated their entire combo with Kongre, the results would have been much better, because you also get the Terrified after the Shockwave. They're trying to get that once again. Really good stopwatch by Gemini, actually blocking it out, but he is still going to fall down anyway. And we also see Atlan nearly getting the kill onto Wing. They find the Death Sentence, the box goes down, and the Flay interrupts the stop. Very well done coming in from Koala. They find the kill. Holding onto the Flay was massive there. Lee Kai going in with the Stride Breaker, but Bivin should be able to disengage this one. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but they also get all of these summoners on Eminem, so a bit more favorable on Machi's side.
Yes, super strong overcommit from Hong Kong Attitude. They get punished immediately because Eminem is the one dropping, and he did grab a shockdown gold after that fight. And we see Kongwei, he does get the pick, trying to get the pick onto Gemini, but Gemini at the right time uses the stopwatch, avoids the shockwave, and Atlan does so much damage already at this point of the game. You see with the Inferno nearly taking down Wing already, but then you see on the back end of the fight the TP from Lee Kai spells disaster from Eminem. He has already used Rocket Jump. He has nowhere else to go. And Machi X went out really large there.
That was a great mechanical display coming out from Koala, just reading the mind of Eminem and waiting on all of the abilities. Super nicely done. Machi X do ping over towards the Baron, but Hong Kong Attitude are going to sniff this one out. Lots of wards going down on both sides. Just taking a look at the timer so far, this is actually really tough for Hong Kong Attitude. They essentially have to defend on both ends. And Machi X at this point, they do have the ability to kind of decide where they want the fight to happen. They could play towards top, they could play towards bottom. Well, I feel like Hong Kong Attitude are tied down into the bot side. It's going to be hard for them to defend both sides on the map with this much pressure.
Yeah, Machi X really have the... they're in the driver's seat right now in terms of where they want to play. As you mentioned, they can play towards the Baron, but I think it's crucial that they try and force something at the next dragon spawning in 1 minute. Kongyue running around fast man on the pony, so he's not going to make anything happen. But Machi X, if they are able to deny some vision from Hong Kong Attitude and find a favorable fight for themselves, they are up 2,000 gold. A lot of that is sitting on this Aphelios and on this Nidalee. Oh, sorry, rather Azir. So those two carries that are going to do quite a bit of damage, as we do see a little bit of the poke coming down. Kongyue not really finding the engage he wanted, but I feel like we're going to be watching a river dance. Oh my goodness, Aphelios!
Oh,
Vivian
that
gets
damage!
No, that was wow. Aphelios at 2 items feels like he's at 3. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, meanwhile, Lee Kai is getting chased around here. I'm having a little bit of difficulty, so maybe you can tell us what's happening.
Yeah, if you're unable to see, I'm able to watch this quite clearly, so I guess I can take over from here. Let me know when you are back, but we do see the Infernal Dragon is spawning. Hong Kong Attitude are turning tail quite a bit. It does look like the river dance is starting to commence. Lee Kai is here on a flank trying to find something, but Machi X will be starting up this Infernal. Hong Kong Attitude are here to answer. We do see
Kongyue goes in. He has the Attract Repel, not popping the stun just yet. Wing goes in, but he doesn't find Atlan. He's dead once again, and the Shockwave only takes around half of the HP. Meanwhile, Lee Kai in the backline already kills Bivin, and Atlan is on the hunt with a full crescendo hula hoop around him. They bait out Rock's ultimate, and they're going in for more. Javelin Toss isn't going to find its target, but they will start up. This will be the Dragon Soul if they take it. Kongyue has to go down in, but he dies for his attempt. Jimian also using the stopwatch to zone everyone away. At 23 minutes and 50 seconds, Machi X walk away with the Infernal Soul.
This is such a early Infernal Soul in such a close game. Hong Kong Attitude have really dropped the ball by getting rid of their Dragon priority, and it's now started to punish them. We see really nice engage from Kongyue, but the rest of his team isn't there to fully follow up. Eminem is forced to use the rocket jump super early, and as a result has to Buster Charge the Renekton away, and we just see so much damage coming down from Bivin, but he is able to be picked up by the Renekton, and from there we see just turning tails trying to hunt down the remaining members of Hong Kong Attitude. Jimian does try to land an Emperor's Divide. It does not land onto anyone as he goes in with the Shifting Sands, forces a flash out of Rock, and is able to pop the golden stopwatch and forces Eminem to run away.
It's a super weird sequence in terms of Hong Kong Attitude's catch combo. Like, they haven't been able to get the Attract Repel down when they need to, and now we're going to have another Baron fight coming in. Infernal Soul over on Machi X's side. They take down Kongyue first, and they're going to find the 80 carry in the backline. In the meantime, Bivin trying to get something back. Lee Kai goes into stopwatch. The chase is on, and Machi X don't even lose a member right here as they take away everyone outside of the solo lanes from Hong Kong Attitude. That was a pretty one-sided fight that Machi X, knowing that they were being flanked, had to just go in and try to make something of it. That's going to give the Baron over, and it seems like this game is quickly turning into a one-sided slaughter for our higher seed.
Yeah, we see Hong Kong Attitude have no vision besides the one lone control ward, and they sense something is happening. Kongyue tries to find the pick onto Atlan, but you see with the Thresh Lantern and the heal, he's able to live with the help of the stopwatch. He does not get taken down, and he actually grabs Kong Yue. And whilst that is happening, Lee Kai and Gemini have dove so deep into enemy backlines, having stopwatches of their own allows them to stall out until the other members come and help them, and that is a clean 3 for 0 for MachiX. Played that so well, using all of the tools in the shed for them to come out on top.
And when we come out of the replay, once again, Wing dies trying to find a catch for his team. I've got to say, this has been one of the more underwhelming Rel performances that we have seen so far in the playoffs. I don't think I've seen them land a single full combo onto Atlan. Really good job by Koala to save him. Really good job by Atlan himself to make sure that he stopped watching at the right times, getting his Severin and Crescendums up. But it should be a simple combo to actually execute. You know, you have so many different ways to execute it. A track repel, and then you take someone back with the devastating charge outside of the dark passage, and you also have Shockwave to follow up. I'm just so surprised that we haven't been able to see this execution come out smoothly for Hong Kong Attitude, and now it might be a little bit too little too late, as MachiX, holding on to an 8,000 gold advantage, are gonna run away once more from Kongyue. Lee Kai not really even that afraid of Hecarim at this point, just is willing to stand his ground and trade damage back. Now Bivin does land the orb onto Atlan, but not going to use the Shockwave, as Wing looks like he's about to go in for the charge once more. Turbo Chem Tank is dissipated, and they're going to have to walk back and just rely on wave clear at this point to clear to make sure MachiX don't walk up.
Yeah, we see MachiX are really just using Lee Kai as a bit of a bunny, like a trap, trying to get Hong Kong drawn to the mid lane so they can siege in this top side, and it's working beautifully. They don't have quite both lanes synced up perfectly, but it's good enough for them to siege. And as a result, they have taken the inhib tower, they have taken the inhibitor in the top side as well, and now they will turn their attention to trying to crack open this mid lane, which is starting to push in. We do have one siege minion, which is just firing away slowly, and with the help of Azir and Aphelios, they should be able to take this one down. The ultimate is used to root up Bivin, but hang on.
Oh, Wing goes in, and they do find Atlan out of nowhere, finally catching someone off by surprise. Hong Kong Attitude are chasing in onto the enemy team. Kongyue has to back out from the engage as he doesn't find the first kill coming into it, and once again, I'm going to have to give the team fighting over to you.
Oh, we see Jimmy doing so much damage with the Sand Soldiers. Lee Kai jumping forward as well. MachiX just win huge. It was as if Atlan was just a bait for the rest of the team to be able to win that fight. But we see Kongyue, he is charging down. He is trying to find Lee Kai, but Lee Kai is too fast on this Crocodile. He does run away, refuses to use the Lantern, would rather use his legs. And as we look at this team fight back, Atlan uses his ultimate so early that it allows the rest of Hong Kong Attitude to engage onto him. We see the Magnet Storm into the crash down with Rock's ultimate, but that's 2 ultimates used for 1 member of MachiX. And yes, Kongyue dives so far down, but look how many Sand Soldiers are set up. We see the flash play into the hook, and that is just Kongyue getting completely shredded. He has to run away. And whilst that's happening, Jimmy just firing away, and we see a nice spear landing from Gemini, and MachiX just are able to play out these skirmishes, these fights, so much stronger than Hong Kong Attitude. It's really coming down to their micro strength and just fighting better as a team.
Yeah, that was amazing to see them still being able to win that fight without their AD carry. He did nothing that fight, and they were still able to take a win here. Now Hong Kong Attitude are going to be forced to entertain this Elder Dragon fight. In the meantime, Machi looks like they're just happy to kind of set up vision and find some more time to get poke in before they go full on for the objectives. And they could honestly just wait for the waves to do their job. So Hong Kong Attitude actually forcing themselves into a pretty bad situation, a very early teleport being used. Now they have a potential catch though, but really smart play from Lee Kai. He does have the scanner going. He's going to spot out the engage, and Jimian is in first. They are going to get Wing as the first target. The backline also just dies. Gemini doing massive damage at this point, and everyone is falling down. Kongyu, the last surviving member, but it's going to be a double kill coming in from Atlan and the Ace to follow it up. A very clean team fight as they hunt and pincer Hong Kong Attitude down into their own brush. Well done, my Machi. The higher seed prevails, and it's going to be a 1-0.
Yeah, as Machi X take down the Nexus, they will be triumphant. And that was just Machi X using Lee Kai once again as a bait, as a distraction for the rest of the squad to collapse onto them with the pincer. And Machi X just flex their gold. They flex how many items they are ahead of Hong Kong Attitude in that fight, and they do prevail victorious. We don't see the most incredible Emperor's Divide, but it is enough to catch the rel. And then that allows Atlan to do so much damage alongside Gemini with these spears chunking out for so much with that Night Harvester and the rest of the AP items. So Machi X grab a victory in game 1 and go 1-0 ahead of Hong Kong Attitude.
Weird sounds. I just feel like this has been a game where it's been about Hong Kong Attitudes jumping the gun over and over again, honestly. Feels like in their Drake fights, even when they were on even footing, they weren't able to coordinate a clean execution. And in that last Elder Dragon, though it probably didn't matter, they also teleported far too early before Machi X even showed any of their cards, and they forced themselves into a Hail Mary play for going into a Death Brush. So I feel like this team in this series isn't really even going to depend that much on the draft. It's just going to be about teamfight setup again and again. This is the biggest point that separates our top of the table teams for our middle of the pack or lower seeded teams in playoffs.
Yeah, in that one, the one time Hong Kong Attitude looked like they won the team fight convincingly was the time where they passed up on a mediocre engage, an engage that they took for the rest of the game for a greater engage, and it was in the form of a counter engage, waiting for the overstep of Gemini to catch him out and win the fight there. So a little bit of patience is something that Hong Kong Attitude need. They need to be decisive when they do pull the trigger, but they need to wait that little bit longer, not trying to force these fights that aren't advantageous for them, actually playing into Machi X's hands quite a bit in that game. So it really comes down, like you mentioned, to their ability to play cohesive and ability to know when is the time to engage, and is it a good engage and why is it not.
Yeah, we saw the Drake fights were really pivotal. Hong Kong Attitude, because their composition is built to front to back, they always took the fight, but especially in the second and third Drake, those were the ones that were, and the fourth Drake, the ones that were most contested. We saw Machi X win out on every single one of them, and it just seemed to be like that sort of crash down shockwave or track repel combo wasn't properly executed most of the time. It was just kind of frustrating to see, honestly. So hopefully Hong Kong Attitude can come back strong. I don't think it was a composition issue. I think it was just down to execution in the team fights. So we'll see if they can work on that trend. And really, this game was a pretty slow one for Machi X as well. A couple of mishaps on their end, but winning that fight over and over again just meant that they could snowball the game to a quick finish after the Infernal Soul.
Yeah, Hong Kong Attitude, as well as being cohesive in these fights, they need to contest these early neutral objectives. We saw them with that mishap on the first Rift Tower of the game. It is Gemini starting that one up, but then you just see it is Kongyue starting that up, but then Gemini comes through. There's a half health Pekram who has to run away. He gives that one over to Gemini, and Gemini uses that Rift Herald to get gold on this Aphelios. And with gold on the Aphelios, that snowballs into more Dragon control and more disaster from Hong Kong Attitude. They need to respect these neutral game objectives, and they need to make sure that Dragon control does not snowball into Machi's favor, because that really bit them in the rear end. And it will be MVP for Lee Kai, 5-1-7 on this Renekton, up 2,600 gold in the end. And he will be having a 66% kill participation. So he looked really good on these flanks. He always found the angle, the counter engage, and making sure that he made Eminem and Wings' life complete trouble, really catching out the Tristana on early on in these fights.
there was no follow-up on those engages precisely because Lee Kai was always in the backline. Really well done by him, and I want to say that this is very critical for Lee Kai to actually get a rebound from his previous Beyond Gaming series. Liang, probably the strongest top laner in the PCS right now, did not show Lee Kai any quarter, and he had actually a pretty bad playoffs until this point. So it's great to see Lee Kai back in form. Hopefully we can get Rock stepping up to the plate as well. That's going to be all for Game 1. Don't tune away as we will come back for Game 2 between Machi X and Hong Kong Attitude.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
Damage, but Hana denies him passes with the pillar. Once again, it's a triple hit for Lil B.
Welcome back to the PCS playoffs as we surge ahead towards game number 2. Game 1 was all about objective control, and this time around Hong Kong Attitude do have side selection. They are going to go for blue side. Once more, similar to game 1, what are the changes that you want to see coming out from Kongyue and co?
I don't think necessarily it's draft, as we mentioned before the break. I think realistically it comes down to execution. Maybe in the draft they want something that's a little bit less like wombo combo and obvious. They could try and draft something that's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more free. Not quite ball delivery on the horse, follow up with the rel. They could go for something more similar to, well, for example, Marchi X's comp. They could have something like an Azir. They don't necessarily, and an Olaf, they could go Udyr. They could go something that definitely has pick potential and late game prowess, but doesn't quite have a one-dimensional way they want to play these fights front to back. So they could try and go that way, but I think it's really crucial that instead of focusing on their team comp, they should focus on how they're playing in the mid game, and they need to contest these dragons and avoid Drake stacking once again.
Okay, so we do want to see them go for maybe something a little bit skirmish oriented. The weird thing for me is that if you look at Hong Kong Attitude's wins, most of them have actually been with Kongyue on a damage dealer. So I'm not sure a pure tank engage is what is called for on their team. Maybe going back to the Graves or Lilia would be better for them because they actually have someone to actually clean up the team fights afterwards. I'm interested to see what they do on blue side, but typically blue side is pretty much locked into Hecarim first picking. So
yeah,
I wonder if that's going to change.
I feel like if if Hong Kong Attitude don't want to play the Hecarim, they need to ban it out and not give it over. Giving over Hecarim to Gemini could spell disaster for them. And I don't want to see Kongyue on the Graves. He played it in the first game in the Boom Esports series, and the pick really didn't do a whole lot of anything. He got a crazy solo kill against the Jace, like around a blue buff in a river skirmish, but besides that, the pick really didn't do a great deal. So I would like to see them go away from the Graves. I think Kongyue has had a lot of success on the Hecarim, so I don't mind him going that way. And it seems as though they will be first picking the Hecarim because I doubt they're going to let the first pick Hecarim go away, and they will be picking it for themselves. The hover is there, and Marchi X should be able to just answer the way they have. They can just take away the Tristana here and force Hong Kong Attitude to play something that they don't want to, that they haven't had as much success with Eminem on. Eminem has played quite a few games of Kai'Sa. It is banned away, and Tristana, but besides that, he hasn't played a great deal of anyone else, so something like a farming center could be played with something other than a Tahm Kench, because that has been banned out, but it really pinches Hong Kong Attitude's pool for 80 carries now.
Yeah, Marchi X are very happy with their current selection. We do see the changes in the draft have been Thresh now taken out, so it's harder to get a hyper carrier like Jinx or Aphelios on the board. Marchi X are just going to go for the Tristana. And we do have to mention that Tristana does have a lot of flex potential. Right now, if you look at Marchi X's composition, they could still switch these picks around. The AP jungler is still wide open, Nidalee and Lilia on the table, so they don't really have to worry about not having a pick to go forwards for Gemini. In the meantime, Hong Kong Attitude are going to lock in the Jinx early on. This is a counter to Tristana, and you still have things like the Alistar to play along with it. I'd be very surprised if they don't go for support here and actually just lock in this this Cassiopeia. Feels a little bit early for the Cassio to actually go down.
Yeah, it will be the rel locked in, but as you mentioned, this Tristana doesn't necessarily have to go bot. It can go mid. You still have both the Lilia or the Nidalee to grab a AP jungler for yourself, just to make the damage split a little bit more favorable. And they will be locking in the Alistar. So if I'm Hong Kong Attitude, I'm trying to ban out the Nidalee or the Lilia or both of them to ensure that if Machi-X want to flex Tristana to the mid lane, they are limiting how strong the AP junglers that Machi-X can choose from are.
Yeah, I think the AP junglers are going to be huge right here. We have seen Machi-X actually play a bit of Talia at the start of the season, especially in week 2, I believe. So that's definitely still something that they could go back to. We've still seen that pick being selected in the LCK and the LPL, even on 11.6. But we'll find out which of the AP junglers are going to get taken out. Like you mentioned, Nidalee off the board immediately. Machi-X have previously gone for the Scion plus the Aatrox bans. I think Scion makes a lot of sense given that Hong Kong Attitude do have a composition that outranges this time. So Machi-X actually have to be the ones that go in for the kill onto Jinx. I think that's a very critical difference in terms of the drafts this time around. And it still will be the Aatrox while Hong Kong Attitude ponder about the last ban.
Yeah, mentioning on Talia, she still has a global presence currently in competitive League of Legends, like you mentioned. Definitely less of a favorable pick with her clear speed being very slow now after the Q nerves. She doesn't hit jungle monsters as hard as she once did. And in a meta all about trying to get to the scuttle, trying to get priority, it makes the pick a lot less favorable. It will be the Volibear locked in. I'm assuming jungle, it can get flexed top with the Renekton flexed mid, but that's really a lot of weird ways the champion can go. So I'm assuming this will be jungle. And knowing that the Renekton is most likely top, the Gnar pick seems very likely for Hong Kong Attitude, especially when a Nidalee can't be picked.
Yeah, this is interesting for Machi-X. Their composition doesn't have the best of engage. They're actually fairly immobile in terms of their frontline. So Hong Kong Attitude, if they just stack frontline and area denial, I feel like Eminem's going to have a really good game this time around. I'm probably just taking away the Azir at this point because Machi-X, they also lack AP damage. So Azir probably fits into the enemy comp a lot better. And no, they're actually going to give the Azir over. Very surprised about that one. I don't actually feel like they need more pick on this composition, but they're gonna try to match with Bivens TF. This is something that I think that Bivens has played very well on, but sometimes has also been quite poor on. It's kind of an interesting pick for Bivens. It's something that he likes, but I don't think he always performs necessarily. In the meantime, Machi-X also kind of surprising me here, just going for the Orianna. It's a bit of a better pick against something like the Jinx, but it's going to lack a lot of AP damage until very late into the game.
Yeah, going more over Bivens TF, it is his most played champion in spring 2021. He does have 5 games on it. His win rate doesn't look incredible on the champion, but that's more due to Hong Kong Attitudes struggling in the early parts of the season, only winning 6 games. But TF is a very feast or famine champion. A lot less reliable damage than something like a Azir, but you do have the point and click stun. You do have the gold card, which is super useful at finding picks. But as you mentioned, Hong Kong Attitude already have quite a bit of pick potential, and you compare that to something like Machi-X. With the Orianna, you do have the Shockwave to find and engage, but there's not really a favorable bull target in this game for her. Like, you have the Volibear, you have the Renekton, pair that with an Alistar. Like, yes, you do have Engage, but it's not quite at the range that an Orianna really wants. You don't have the Hecarim to dive. So I feel as though it'll be really hard for Machi-X to execute this comp unless they just snowball the game through early game on Lee Kai or early game on Atlan, because Tristana will have to push early, and Volibear does have a faster clear speed in 11.5, so he will be able to match Hecarim getting through the jungle. So I think Machiax really need to either snowball this Renekton or snowball this Tristana, because if they fall behind, it's going to be really hard to deal with the range of Jinx.
We'll see if they can keep ahead of the curve and make sure that Eminem doesn't overtake them in Game 2 of this series. We're heading on to the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Hong Kong Attitude, your 8th seed in playoffs, going up against the 3rd seed in Machi X. See who can come out of top. Will it be a 2-0 match point, or will they come out at 1 game apiece?
Yeah, nice and sunny on the Rift for this game. It's always fun to see what the broadcaster looks like in terms of the Rift, what the weather looks like. Sometimes it's foggy, sometimes it's night. A little bit of a Easter egg Calvin pointed out to me as we were casting last week. But going through the runes and summoner spells, nothing too crazy. We do see Eminem feels forced to go the cleanse into something like the Volibear, into the Shockwave from the Orianna, as well as Ruthless Predator on the Renekton. So more of a summoner spell, less for lane, more for these late game team fights, because Eminem realizes he is going to be majority, if not the lion's share, of Hong Kong Attitude's damage in these late game team fights. So making sure he has the cleanse, able to self-peel for himself, will be crucial to Hong Kong Attitude's success.
Yeah, and I like that Atlan on the flip side isn't going to go for the cleanse. It's not much you can do about displacement coming in from the Rel and the Hecarim, so the heal is actually a little bit better in my read. On the level 1 play, we actually saw some really interesting stuff coming out from the side of Wing. They knew that Lee Kai started in that bottom brush in Game 1, so they warded it up early from the support position. Really nicely done to give Rock an advantage in lane, and Lee Kai might be a little bit surprised about the brush play not really working out for him. In the meantime, we're also going to take a look at Volibear's new clear. Volibear's clear is so healthy these days. He's able to start 2 camps by himself on the blue side, and it just seems like everyone has been going for the same routine.
Yeah, using the Sky Splitter, able to tag out both the Grump and the blue buff, makes him so healthy. He has the damage coming through, he has the shield, and with his passive, he just stays nice and healthy, a nice healthy bear. And you can see already the speed at which he's clearing. He's beating Hecarim through the jungle. Hecarim, a champion that is known for his clear speed, that's why he's such a menace at the moment in the pro meta. And Volibear is keeping up with him quite well. But there is one thing that Hecarim does do over the Volibear, and that is the ease and speed of ganks. Yes, Gemini does have the point and click stun with the Q, but it is easy to run away until you get the turbo chem take and until you have the movement speed to gap close. But Gemini is bullying out.
Oh, flashes in for that one. Kongir has to pop the ghost to run away, but now Bivin is on his tail. Can he find the gold card? Does have it, but no follow-up damage. Is just going to tag the bear a little bit. So, summoner for summoner. I feel like Kongir actually gets out ahead in that one. A ghost much lower cooldown than the flash.
Definitely. If the kill doesn't go over and farm isn't really denied, as headbutt does land, but the stun will make sure that the pulverize can't be used by Koala. Yeah, like you were mentioning, the ghost definitely does feel better to be burnt than a flash, because now Gemini doesn't have the threat of a flash stun going onto Rock, going onto Bivin in the mid lane, and it looks like
Kongir finds another full combo. Is gonna take You're down to 50 HP. He dies. First blood coming in from Machi X, and Gemini is rewarded for his patience, just quietly hibernating in that banana brush until Kongir shows himself again.
Yeah, Gemini are doing a really good job of trying to catch Kongyue greeting for this topside Scuttle Crab, and that's exactly what he does find. See Kongyue, he has no vision, the Sky Splitter does land into the stun, and Kongyue is forced to run away. He does not have Ghost, and the flash auto attack from Orianna will be enough to pick it up for first blood onto the Hecarim. And as I was mentioning, Machi X really need to get ahead in the early game and make it incredibly difficult for Hong Kong Attitude to match their damage output. And getting this first kill onto the Orianna makes it incredibly difficult for TF to feel like he can roam, because if you're being shoved in time and time again by this Orianna, your roam timings with the wave feels as though if you don't make a successful Destiny happen, you will just lose turret plates and you will lose farm, and it makes puts so much pressure back onto Bivin on this pick, and makes him have to really make sure he gets the most out of his Destiny.
I want to point out on the map right now, there's 4 camps for Gemini and 1 left for Kongyue. So even though the CS score might not be as crazy as you think it might have been with the double scuttle start, it's going to balloon really fast. Like, Gemini is definitely going to have a sizable CS advantage at this point. It's going to be very difficult for Kongyue to actually do anything. And look at the sides that they're going to be on. Gemini is going to be once again able to execute a top lane tower dive with Kongyue just not being around to play.
Yeah, Kongyue having one Raptor remaining in the pit when he gets there, having majority of his jungle taken away, it's so rough for him because he feels as though he has to make a gank happen, and it has to happen right now. And he's trying to make something happen around Jimian, but he's scared that he's on a ward. He actually isn't, just because Jimian is playing towards the bottom side of the river in this mid lane. Until Kongyue knows he's on a control ward, he feels as though this play is found out, and he will go in.
Know about this. The gold card comes in, and it's a 3-man instead of the 2-man. Jimian uses the shockwave, but it doesn't seem like it lands onto anyone. But Wing dies first, and Jimian stays alive. Great exhaust coming out there. It wasn't exhaust, excuse me, it was an exhaust going down, but it didn't get the kill onto Jimian, and MachiX walk away under a 2v3. The damage just not coming through. Let's watch that again and see how Jimian was able to survive that one.
You see the gold card into the crash-down lane, but Jimian does land the shockwave, and you see Koala peeling so well. He lands the multi-man pulverize, and that allows Jimian to live with his life. And Wing is kicking himself that he did not bring Ignite, because if an Ignite goes down onto Jimian instead of an exhaust, I feel like that's the difference. And you do see the kill going over to Hong Kong Attitude's side, but alas, he does not have that summoner spell, and it will be MachiX beginning to stack these dragons, a crucial thing that Hong Kong Attitude will need to start to contest, because we saw firsthand last game how far that can snowball and how that can make MachiX feel unstoppable. It won't be an Infernal Soul, but it will be either a mountain dragon or an ocean dragon to sustain heavy dragons. And with the lack of damage coming through from Hong Kong Attitude's team comp, like really Jinx being the main damage source, that can make it incredibly difficult for Hong Kong Attitude to get going in these fights.
Yeah, we definitely need to see that Jinx staying ahead if Hong Kong Attitude want to have a say in this. So far, it's just been MachiX coordinating with Gemini better. They have been catching out Wing, and they're going to do it again. Can Wing actually find the Blast Cone? No, he dies to the stun. And the Sky Splitter coming down. That's another great pick, just targeting out the members from Hong Kong Attitude, killing them in their own backyard gardens so far. And now Bivin feels the heat. He has to be the second target here, where Stormbringer comes in, and we have the Shockwave Sky Splitter combo coming out. No tower is going to dissuade MachiX, and they're going to walk across the enemy jungle again, buff to buff, taking everything away from Kongyue.
There's absolutely nothing Bivin can do to escape that. Unless he pops Destiny preemptively and just gets out from under his tower, he's going to be picked 9 times out of 10, unless a completely horrible mishap happens. But Jimian could be caught here.
Full stun comboed onto Jimian, but Jimian is staying very healthy right here, and the cavalry has arrived. Kongyue realizes, wait a minute, he's on the completely wrong side of the map, is gonna try to escape, does have the ultimate, gets out right in front of the enemy team, but getaway truck is really not what you're looking for right now.
Kongyue's baiting Wing into forcing him to help him, but there are only 2 members of Hong Kong Attitude, and there are 3 of MachiX. Kindergarten level maths will tell you that that is a favored fight for Machi, and once again it is Wing falling for Hong Kong Attitude. And this will just continue to snowball MachiX. This Orianna that we talked about in Champion Select, needing kills early to get to that 2-3 item mark, where she starts to do lots of damage. She's already 2-0-3, like I mentioned. She is going to be able to get next reset for her. She will be able to finish off her first mythic, and this Orianna is starting to get snowballed and out of hand, and it's just so rough for Hong Kong Attitude. This TF has done nothing to enable the Jinx or Nah so far on the map, and Bivin needs to make something happen with Destiny.
Really haven't seen that ultimate popped, and as you've mentioned, the first ultimate is the most crucial one. It allows this Twisted Fate to snowball, but he's getting pushed in 24/7 at this point, and I don't think there's anyone that could actually change the fate of that lane at that point. It doesn't even matter about the player at this point. Finally, we're going to have the Destiny Gate 3-man onto Gemini. Sky Splitter is going to come down. He's going to stand his ground and get the shielding in, but they are going to get the pick. Really nicely done here. And that's exactly what we need to see from Hong Kong Attitude. They might snowball in an extra objective as well.
Yeah, we were just talking about how Biven needs to find something with this Destiny, and he does just that. He sets up a play with Rock, with Kongyue around this Rift Herald. They catch out Gemini. The jungler does fall for Machi X, and that allowed Kongyue to finally get a neutral objective. He does have Smite, so he will be securing this one for himself. And now, the first Destiny has been successful. Now Hong Kong Attitude have the timer about 3/4 away from coming back up, and they need to find something with the next one as well, because you need to start using this Twisted Fate, using, I guess, Rock, who you just got your first kill onto, to make something happen, because this Gnar at this point in the game is ahead of the Renekton, does have the kill credit for himself, so trying to force a fight around this dragon that is spawning in 50 seconds could be beneficial for Hong Kong Attitude. They just need to play this one out quite well, because the Jinx isn't quite online just yet, but they do need to... I think you either fight now, or you fight when the gold lead balloons even more in Machi X's favor. So I think forcing a fight, trying to find a pick, could be what they want to do. But yeah, it will be Kongyue resetting. Actually, no, he will be staying in this top lane, trying to get more plates onto Rock, trying to crack open this top turret. But that allows Gemini to most likely go straight on this dragon, but he will feel like he has to be called up, and he will try to dive Rock.
Yeah, Rock at this point, double buff is going to get targeted out. The stun comes down, Sky Splitter does land, and then we have the Stormbringer plus Shockwave combo. So, really inopportune moment for Rock to stay there, you know. He could have just gotten the gold and left, but decided to go in for a little bit more, and great roam by Machi X to catch that one out. Really not much that he could do against that combination. In the meantime, Koala trying to find a pick onto Biven. They are going to get a ton of damage onto him, but he will survive after burning the flash, and in comes a cavalry! That's the AoE composition. Not really landing on the targets they need to, but they still won the fight quite handedly regardless, and they're looking for more. Koala goes in, and they do find the kill onto Kongyue, but he dies as well. Eminem gets excited, and Atlan is left there to pick up the pieces. It jumps in, doesn't find the slow, and Gemini is on the hunt. He will die, I think. Oh, wait a minute. It actually stays alive. Now Lee Kai trying to find a kill onto Biven. It will be Atlan that gets the kill over the wall right there, as unfortunately for Wing, he really had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that was super tragic for Hong Kong Attitude, because leaving Rock to die on that island in the top side allows the members of Machi X to be set up here. And you see Koala doing a great job using the headbutt first, making the TF run back to the river before using Pulverize, and the flash is forced from the TF immediately. A really good multi-man mount up into the Magnet Pull, which stalls for so long for Machi X. And Atlan comes so late to this fight. But you do see that Tristana does do a lot of damage. And once Jinx gets excited...
we have a two-man engage, plus the Shockwave onto the back end of that one. Everfrost has to be used, and we can cut the replay! It's fine. We's gonna die in the pit. In the meantime, the support also goes down on Koala, so that was Machi X getting the Drake, but getting the worst trade in terms of the kills for it.
Yeah, I'm not actually too sure. Did you say there was 2 men going down at the end of that fight? Or just the one?
There was a 2-man Shockwave and Koala going over the wall. It was really cool to see, but it wasn't enough for Machi X to actually find anything.
Yeah, I feel like Machi X coming out with the dragon there isn't too bad. Like, yes, you do lose your support, you do lose Koala, but you continue the Drake stacking, and you are ahead in gold already. So giving over that little bit of kill gold from the support for a neutral objective being the dragon continues to mount pressure. And as we see Kongyue, he will be going so deep to find Jimmy, and he does have Biven with the Destiny to meet him. But, oh my goodness, the Hex Flash into the Headbutt Pulverize onto 2 members. The 3-man Shockwave looks so good for Machi, but there is no Tristana. And that allows Hong Kong Attitude to come out with a pick, and Atlan comes so late. He doesn't actually join the fight at all, but hang on.
Oh, Wing is gonna get his crash down stopped. He's not gonna be able to get away. Really easy pickup from the 3-1 and 5 Jimian. And, you know, one of the big things that we were worrying about was the lack of just AP damage in the early game. I'm pretty sure Jimian has you covered at this point. Lee Kai gonna find himself against a potential 1v2. But in the meantime, just a straight-up solo kill. Unfortunate for Bivin. Meets his demise in the middle of river. Just runs into a bear in the wilderness. And I can assure you, those are not teddy bears out there in the wild.
No, when you see this super fast bully bear, that's not where you want to be if your name's Bivin. You're trying to make a play happen. You're trying to roam up. But Gemini, rush camping him, you see the Sky Splitter land into the stun. Bivin has gold card, but he's just getting chased down. Stormbringer as used, and with the exposure damage from PTA, it will be Gemini solo killing the enemy mid laner a level down, which is something you don't normally see. You think levels mean advantages in fights, but Volibear, a very experienced skirmisher, loves the 1v1 versus Twisted Fate, who likes to bend destiny in his favor, trying to make some unfavorable fights with his ultimate. Doesn't get the best of him, but Koala is here.
Atlan's gonna start up with the slow, directly walks back to avoid the ultimate from Rock, and that was so well played by Atlan. Just reading Rock like a book, and the chase is on. Gemini finds a good piece of Kong Yue. He's getting that acquired taste for horse meat at this point, and this Herald is going to be wide open for the tanking. Machi X just making sure they clear out the vision at this side. Jimian hurts like a truck at this point, and he also has the stopwatch. Hong Kong Attitude are going to go for the cross-map play instead of the direct contest.
Yeah, it was so well done from Atlan to just do the little stutter sidestep. He does completely avoid the Gnar ultimate, and once that ultimate is missed, you know he will be taken down, and he just CC'd up, and now this is a 3-0 Tristana to meet both his jungler and his mid laner, who have 3 kills apiece for themselves, and you see this gold lead starting to balloon once again for Machi. They grab another neutral objective for themselves, the 3rd one of the game for them, and you have Bivin just splitting in the side lane. It will be Twisted Fate. He does have the passive that does allow him to get more gold, split pushing in the side lane from minions, so he will be benefiting from that. But Machi X turning onto the mid turret, they will be trying to siege this one down with Shelly. The charge will go off, so the health will be used from her, so it most likely will only be one used, but Destiny...
Engage coming down, they go for Jimian at this point. The stun is also in, but Wing is the target that's going down. They don't actually find the targeted kill. Finally, throwing all of their eggs into the basket. They get it, and Atlan might be next, as he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Little rock in that sense, and Kongre unfortunately bunted to death by Koala. Eminem doesn't get the... No, he doesn't find the kill or the get excited. It feels so bad. Vivid is gonna die to the Sky Splitter, and that's Reset City for Atlan. That was one auto attack. You can see even Eminem walking backwards after that play, thinking he had it in the bag.
That was so clean from Koala. After the engage looked so good from Hong Kong Attitude, you think Atlan is forced so low, he has to run away, he has to retreat. But for Koala, knowing his AD carries damage, he makes the Smurf play, first the Pulverize into the headbutt, and living on the slightest amount of health. That passive healing him up, that is so unbelievably unfortunate. Like, if you're Eminem playing this Jinx, you're thinking, that timely passive is the reason why I did not get excited and I did not get a triple kill. Feels crushing. But Koala playing to the limits on this cow, knowing exactly what he can get away with, and getting away with stuff did he do. And that will allow Machi to stack their 3rd dragon and try to push towards this Ocean Soul. Hong Kong Attitude, they need to contest this soul, because this is starting to look like a repeat of last game.
Triumphant Roar for the win in that one. Really well done coming out from Koala. Whether that was planned or not, doesn't matter. They got the kill. They stopped Eminem from snowballing, and they are looking at Drake Point at this point. Kongre does a bit of a drive-by, but he knows that there's actually no one following up, so doesn't decide to go for the decimating charge. And in the meantime, a lot of good vision by Machi X, so they know full well who's is behind Kong Yue. They're going to start this fight regardless, and Bivens actually finding a really hard time getting his target. Lee Kai's going to be the one going in. Shockwave completely whiffs, but it doesn't matter. They still find Twisted Fate regardless, and they're looking to go in for more. Stormbringer onto Wing. Wing gets a 3-man knockdown. Really well done, but meanwhile in the back line, Jinx is just dead. Tristana gets taken out by Atlan, Gemini, and Atlan making sure they clean house on the back line, and despite Wing's best efforts, they're not able to keep the base alive. The tier 2 is going to go down, and this is a full 5-man push against the 2 from Hong Kong Attitude. Only their tank still surviving this one.
Yeah, Koala is continuing to just completely smurf all over Hong Kong Attitude on this Alistar. Once again, he just continues to just peel perfectly and find these picks. You see Destiny is used, but it's not really the best place for Bivin. He is not able to get onto Jimian with the gold card. Lee Kai buys so much time. Yes, the Shockwave does miss, but that is a Twisted Fate going down. And now Hong Kong Attitude are on the retreat. They do know the Stormbringer is here. Gemini does use it, and the Magnet Storm is used to try and peel away the Renekton, but that's one member peeled away. And you see Atlan is able to first get the pick onto Rel and then jump away. On the back end, you do see Kongwei is taken down. I mean, rather, Wing is taken down, so that's Machiax winning completely out on this one. And Koala getting a little bit overzealous here. Len has pulverized, but no follow-up to back him up and get the pick, but Eminem on this Jinx pick, she is 0-2-3 against a 5-0 in Tristana, and she really is all of the damage that Hong Kong Attitude will be trying to do, or should be, and that lack of damage is just killing Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, it's really not looking great for them. In that fight, I think the highlight, as you mentioned, really Koala going into the back line, but also Bivin missed everything. Like, he held on to his gold card too long, didn't get the stun, missed the Everfrost on Renekton, and they could have played that a lot better, but doesn't even get damage off. Like, he actually did 0 damage in that last team fight, so hopefully we will get Bivin with a better performance in the next one. Just a lot of tiny mechanical misplays adding up, and here we have the Cavalry. This is Bivin's chance to redeem himself. He doesn't find an angle necessarily. Jimian is very well protected on the back line, and it's just going to be a Vision Destiny.
Yeah, a Soul Vision Destiny feels so incredibly bad for Hong Kong Attitude. With the Baron up and the Dragon starting in 1 minute and 40 seconds, Machi X are able to besiege.
Oh, here we go. Wing goes into the back line. They find Koala before they can do anything. Kongre goes down in the meantime, but they do get the flash in, and they're going in for more. Onslaught of Shadows hits absolutely no one, and Koala bunts people away. That was ugly. That was real ugly. But oh, there we go. Rock trying to make something happen. His damage dealers are dead. Double kill on Atlan, and yeah, this is just gonna be a straight chase down. That was I've seen better team fights, but that did the job.
Yeah, Machi X not looking the cleanest, but they do find the execution. They will turn their attention to Baron. 16 seconds on the death time of the Hecarim, but really good job from Wing to find the pick onto Jimian. He has to crash down. He waits. The flash does land. Make sure there is nowhere that the Orianna can go. But Hong Kong Attitude need to stop here. It is a 1-for-1. That is good enough for you. You are behind, but they overchase. The Jinx is energized, but by the time it matters, it is forced out. You see Atlan does jump away, completely avoiding the onslaught of shadows. But Hong Kong Attitude continue to try to make the fight happen. A flash from the boulder from Koala is crucial, and you just see Kongwei tick down with the explosive charge, and then Atlan just begins to pop off. It's Reset City, forces Bivin to gold card away, but the flash over the wall into the pit from Gemini makes sure that the Twisted Fate will meet his destiny and does fall, and that is Machi X grabbing Baron and continuing to blow this game out, and with the Ocean Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, Hong Kong Attitude need to contest this dragon, but 10k gold down. Realistically, how much can they actually do?
Not much is probably the answer here. We do have Jinx, so there's always a chance for a super mega death rocket steal, and they are very well positioned. They have the vision advantage, Machi X are actually looking for the game-winning team fight. They're doing disruption. In the meantime, just taking down the base. The mid lane tower is already open. We see Gemini now about to get taken out, as it takes
getting
a long
backdoored
time for them to actually find the kill. Are they actually going to be able to find the kill? That's the first Nexus tower down, and that's the second Nexus tower. Only Pivot is back. Kongr is finally here. He uses the ultimate straight onto Atlan, but Atlan's just going to kill him. They're going to end the game off of this. Machi X with the genius play. They use Gemini as distraction, and Gemini even fights the kill. What? How does this all go wrong? Machi X force Hong Kong Attitude to make a decision, and Hong Kong Attitude make all the wrong moves.
Hong Kong Attitude needed to contest the dragon, but getting the dragon and getting backdoored will lose you the game. And Machi X, really intelligent, having Jibian and Atlan just going at the Nexus turrets. They have the Baron buff, they have the Siege Minions just cracking through the turrets, and this is Tristana with 3 items. Her explosive charge does so much damage to this turrets, and as a result, Machi X do get the backdoor, do get the 2 kills at the back end of the game, and they do grab game 2. That's a lot of 2s, and they are 1 game away from closing out the series. Congratulations, Machi X.
It just feels like Hong Kong Attitude were on so many different pages when they could have been on one. You take the break and everyone just recall, just go back. But they try to chase Gemini, and at the end, Gemini even kills Eminem. I'm like, what was that? That's just, I don't know. I feel like Hong Kong Attitude always comes into these fights on even footing, and then they just, they don't manage to execute properly, and it just costs them so heavily.
I mean, the stress of being 10,000 gold behind really can make you start to do very questionable things. And a very questionable thing did just happen. Like, you see, Gemini does a great job of cancelling the recalls, being a nuisance, and allowing Atlan and Jimian just auto-attack down these turrets. These Nexus turrets are getting taken down so quickly, and it's as if Hong Kong Attitude, they throw up the white flag, they go, let's at least try and kill Gemini, and he does trade over the kill. So, super rough from Hong Kong Attitude, but this is 2 games in a row now where Dragon Soul feels uncontested. And they contested it at the wrong time. Like, when 3 dragons are taken so early from Machi X, Hong Kong Attitude, they need to contest Dragon 1 or Dragon 2 because it's starting to get really out of hand here.
This was a much closer game, actually, from Hong Kong Attitude in terms of the early game. Like, they were actually upping kills this time around and pushing down towers. But that mid-game, there were just so many weird plays, especially around that topside push, I think is where they lost most of their momentum. We had Rock just die one time out of nowhere, Bivin die another time out of nowhere, and yeah, like, Machi were kind of just snowballing after that point. They had so much map control just from those 2 plays, and you can tell from the gold graph, like, they weren't massively ahead, but it was those small pickups again and again that really started to inch it forward for Machi X. And when it came to those big team fights as well, Hong Kong Attitude, they just had some, like, the mid lane chase down was so weird from Hong Kong Attitude. They missed the onslaught of shadows, and then they keep going, which is just like, why? I don't know.
I think it comes down to lack of damage when you look at Hong Kong Attitude. When you're Na, which, like, no disrespect to Rock, he actually played really well on the Na in these team fights. He's doing 18,000 damage, and your Jinx is getting out damaged by a Twisted Fate. You know you might not have drafted the most damage-heavy composition, and they need to correct that going to Game 3. But it will be Gemini grabbing the MVP in the jungle on the Volley Bear, 9-2-11, solo killing the Twisted Fate. He just looked incredible, and you see 3,600 gold difference at the end, and a 77 almost kill participation. It was an incredible game from Gemini.
He has had a meeting with Kongre every single time in the top side at level 3. That's been the sort of defining factor of these games, is Machi X are just coordinating better with their pushing lanes and making sure that Kongre is put down in the early game. He hasn't been getting any scuttles early. That's mind-boggling to me that they've just been like double scuttling him consistently and killing him when he tries to go into the river. It's a really hard game for Kongre to execute, and I'll be honest, I feel like Biffin played so poorly this game. this is one of the like. There's no Destiny gates early, and in these team fights, he's actually missing everything, which is really it's kind of painful to see. So I kind of want him to see him just go on the Azir. Like I feel like the Azir this draft would have been so much cleaner. He would have had priority in the mid lane. He would have been a factor in the late game. They would have had been this one damage composition. So I as we've mentioned, this is Biven's most played, but a lot of times he does not show up on the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, the Twisted Fate definitely did lack the impact in the early game, and when Orianna does grab that early game kill, going 1-0 over Twisted Fate, it feels as though Twisted Fate can't get any destinies off. You have that constant shoving in of the Orianna. You're trapped under your turret. You do not have the wave clear to match an Orianna, and you feel like a prisoner of the mid lane, and all you want to do is escape and make plays in that map. And we didn't see. We saw the first Destiny you successfully full Biven was level 8, and that's much too late. You need to be making an impact as soon as you ding 6, and Hong Kong Attitude need to go away from this pick. Like the Twisted Fate did not work. A traditional Azir, which was open, could have done leaps and bounds more than the pick.
They even hovered the Azir. They were even like, Azir really works here. Nah, let's get Biven Twisted Fate. Most played, let's go. And he does nothing in a team fight. I was really, really sad to see. Like, he holds onto his gold card, and his gold card runs out before he can stun the Renekton. And he misses the Everfrost. And it was like, oh, I actually have no damage. And he just dies. I was like, oh, no. It was a painful game from Hong Kong Attitude. I really want to see them just play around the range advantage. Keep it simple. Maybe just go with your bot lane. And just make that game plan as easy as possible. If you're losing on the top, fine, whatever. Just lose. At least have one lane that's consistently ahead that you can snowball from. That's all I ask from Hong Kong Attitude. Dumb it down, put all of your eggs in one basket, and let's go. But that's going to be all for Game 2. We are going to have Machi X on game point, and after this break, we're going to see if Machi X can close it out, or will the comeback begin for Hong Kong Attitude.
不知道从哪天起，我获得了一股超能力。其实，这不是超能力，我只是扮了。
中国信托英雄联盟卡多款卡面任你选，最高享10%现金回馈，也想拥有这些英雄被动技，现在就去办，再送神秘英雄礼。We are family.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
We are family.
it, denies him passive with the pillar. Once again, it's a triple kill for Lil B.
This is the time. This is do or die for Hong Kong Attitude as they are pushed to the brink at 0-2. As with our tradition and our rule format, the loser does have side selection, and once more, Hong Kong Attitude are going to take that blue side. But this is going to be a tough matchup as they have not been able to break that early chokehold from the jungle that Gemini has been putting on them.
Yeah, Gemini just looked so good early game on this Nidalee in the first game. In the second game, he looked really good on this Volibear, forcing Kongyue to have to back off and give up that Scuttle Crab, that crucial first topside Scuttle Crab. That's where they want to play. That's where Hong Kong Attitude want to be safe. They want to make sure Rock is able to be confident. And drafting Na 2 games in a row, he has played really well, but that Scuttle Crab allows Gemini to do so much. And getting double Scuttle Crabbed in the second game as well, it's so hard for Kongyue to get back into the game and have an impact when you're so far behind. And especially when you pair the double Scuttle with stealing the Raptors, stealing a couple of jungle camps, it just puts the Hecarim so far behind. It delays the Turbo Chem Tank, and until that item is hit, the Hecarim doesn't feel as tanky and doesn't feel as though the engages are as strong as they could be and as they should be. And I'm interested to see if there is another jungle pick that Kongyue wants to play, because the Hecarim hasn't worked in game 1 or 2. It's just been bullied out. And he needs to go to something else, because even though the pick is super good, is pick ban, it needs to be banned now from the blue side.
Yeah, I feel like it's the strategy for Machi X is very clear. They're just gonna have a superior 1v1 dueling jungle with priority lanes coming in. That's why they're banning away the Olaf. That's kind of like the strongest 1v1 jungle you can get early. So I do want to see something like the Grave, something like the Nidalee potentially come out for Kongyue to make sure he's at least gonna find that dueling advantage against Gemini, or this early game just hasn't been working out.
Yeah, a dueling champion would definitely be something that is a look that Hong Kong Attitude should do. I think going something like an Udyr or an Olaf, if it is given over, could be better. I would love to see the third ban going towards the Hecarim. Take the champion off the map. Kongyue hasn't looked good on it in the series, and they do take that one away. They go, we're going to put Kongyue on something fresh. We are not going to let Gemini pilot it, because if he looks so good on the Nidalee, on the Nidalee, on the Volibear, he'll look incredible on the #1 jungler in the patch. And I'm assuming Kongyue will go towards something like a Volibear, but it will be the priority pick in the Kai'Sa for Hong Kong Attitude. First picking an 80 carry it's a bold statement.
And we'll give them a lot more of that sort of potential to get picks with the killer instincts. Meanwhile, Machi gonna go for the Tristana like they have always done. The second pit has been split between Renekton or Volibear, but since they don't see the jungle just yet, I think they're maybe gonna hold on to that. No, they're gonna instantly go for the Nidalee. So staying true to their strategies. Now Kongyue has to think about what he has in his back pocket that can take on the Nidalee. Important here, Thresh is off the table, not a lot of counters to this Rel. They're just going to lock that one in. And the third pick, usually jungle or mid here. Okay, we are going to get Zoe.
Will be Bivin on the Zoe. A champion, super explosive, super oppressive. She gets ahead early with her poke. But Machi X, I'm assuming they'll just go ahead and lock in the Alistar. You have the headbutt to knock away the Rel. You're able to disengage really well against the Rel. You completely negate her crash down. And it will be the Alistar locked in. And Alistar, Tristana, a bot lane duo, Machi X has found quite a bit of success already in this series on. So Machi X happy to run it back. A little bit different pairing the Alistar Tristana with the Nidalee this time around, but they have found success so far in the series on these champions, so why not go ahead and draft it for themselves? And it will be Graves being targeted for Kongyue, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Lilia or another high priority jungler is taken away as well.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna go for something AD here, most likely. While Hong Kong Attitude, they have the luxury of banning away mid laners. They're just gonna be taking away Jimian's Lucian. His Yone is also something that they've paired together and is actually somewhat of a counter pick against Zoe, so I do expect that to be taken away too. For Machi X, they are still considering their top lane or their jungle options at this point. They've been consistently banning out Aatrox and Sion. So I actually wouldn't mind if they just ban out Aatrox again, but they're going to go for the Jace ban. Huh, rather interesting going for Jace here.
Banning out the Jace signifies that they're more than happy to just blind pick Gnar and leave mid lane to counter pick. Looking to pick up the Gnar now while they can. Jace does relatively well into the champion. Gnar has made it through the ban phase thus far. But talking about what Kongyue actually will play now, because we see the Graves taken away. You mentioned that you'd like to see a physical damage AD carry with a mage in the mid lane. Like, where do you go now? Like, is it something like a Kindred even? Like, how far down the order do we go? Or is it a tank jungler? Is it time for a tank jungler? We will see the Syndra hover into the Gnar. It will be the Gnar blind, as we mentioned before, so nothing too crazy from Machi X.
Yeah, we do have a very standard composition. Not exactly the best frontline, but it can work. And Rock is gonna go for something special. We have seen a lot of Akali top lanes that bring Ignite, very strong kill combination. You can definitely just kill the Gnar around level 3 if you go for that combo, and it is gonna get locked in. So we have Hong Kong Attitude. This is what I want to see, a full dive combination. Much easier to execute. Hecarim doesn't have to go in all the time. And we have the AD Xin Zhao come out. Yeah, this is a rocking draft coming out from Hong Kong Attitude. I love the new Xin Zhao with that 1100 range on Audacious Charge.
Yeah, like having Xin Zhao getting buffed on 11.6, a little bit of a rework so the champion is able to have such a large dash, able to follow up on that massive Audacious charge. Like 1100 units is so large. If the enemy gets challenged, he is able to dash and gap close, and you pair that with an Akali, with a Zoe, there is so much pick potential from Hong Kong Attitude. We do see that it's Machi X picking the Twisted Fate for themselves, so trying to get on the map with Destiny. Hopefully for Jimian's sake, he can pilot the champion better than Viven could. But Twisted Fate can be susceptible to potentially a little bit of pressure if you land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, if your name is Viven. You do have Kongyue with the 3-point strike to potentially knock up the Twisted Fate, and where can he really go? Yes, he has a gold card, but the gap closing from Xin Zhao after this rework is really strong. And like, Xin Zhao, you wanted something skirmish heavy. You have the Xin Zhao, you have the Akali, the Zoe that wants to fight and get picks too. Hong Kong Attitude, they're trying to bring it too much EX in Game 3.
Yeah, they definitely are gonna go with the full-on solo queue build here. It's you start a fight, everyone piles in, and you should be able to win. Massive snowball potential, massive individual outplay potential coming out from Hong Kong Attitude. In the meantime, Matcha Esports, this is a very strong mid-jungle combination. It's one of the best mid-jungle combos you can play. It's been true since season 3, actually. This combo at Worlds always manages to show up. Yellow card into a spear is pretty deadly, but the other side lanes, I feel like they're actually quite easy pickings. These side lanes are not as safe as they might seem on paper, and that may allow Hong Kong Attitude to find their first win in the series with this massive snowball backline dive composition.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see how this Xin Zhao can work. The fact that your win becomes lightning now marks and challenges enemies. It allows you to gap close so much further than you otherwise thought a Xin Zhao could do. So it'll be really interesting to see Kongyue, a traditionally very proactive jungler, hasn't looked so in this series, getting bullied out by Gemini, how he can use this very explosive pick on the Xin Zhao to impact the map. And another thing I want to discuss is we saw Xin Zhao get a little bit of AP scaling with his W. Not really any of the items looking his way besides the Eclipse solo queue build. Are we expecting lethality to be built from Xin Zhao? Or will he be going something like a Turbo Chem Tank, more of a tank route? Because I'm actually yet to see a Xin Zhao in the PCS, I'm assuming, and I haven't actually seen him globally too often. I don't think I've seen him at all.
Frostfire Gauntlet is the main
Frostfire?
go-to build for him.
Okay.
He just tries to chase people down. Meanwhile, Lee Kai already in trouble, but he's trying to bait as the cavalry incoming. Gold card in. They give him blood. They go in way too late, and now they just lose their top laner. What was that, Machi X? They're trying to claw this one back, but okay. I'm so surprised that they didn't help out, and Gemini even laughs there. He's like, sorry, bro. We didn't know you would be dead that quick.
Oh my goodness. Lee Kai just gets taken down so far. You just see the Akali just auto-attacking him down, has the Shuriken flip, secures kill with it, and you're already seeing the power of the Akali doing so much damage. Lee Kai is just forced to turn tail and run. Really shows no resistance, and Machiax have 2 members that are able to help, but they do so late. No members of Hong Kong Attitude.
That's so
I
funny.
know. It's I'm devastating.
I'm pretty sure that was sending Lee Kai to bait, because on both of the starts that we've seen, Hong Kong Attitude, in Game 2, they also had a 2-man stack on the top side. Machi X read it. They were going into bait, but for some reason, Gemini actually just... He actually just, like, he wasn't looking. It took a while for him to actually react to that play.
Yeah, with this Akali, she's actually gone Teleport Ignite. She does not want to give up the macro teleport, but as the crush down is interrupted by the headbutt.
A really good stun coming out from Koala, so he's gonna swing that trade around and back into his favor. And this top lane that's gonna be a painful start for someone like Lee Kai. Being down boots is actually quite a big deal in these trades that could be coming.
Especially with Akali wanting to weave in and out of Shroud, having the passive for her to proc when she lands an ability. Boots will do leaps and bounds for her to be able to do so. And it allows her to play more aggressively into the Snar, trade quite heavily if she would like to. Obviously, she's just trying to dodge out on Boomerang in the early levels. But it's so rough for Lee Kai. Rock will really be trying to wait till Ignite comes back off cooldown, get a reset, come back to lane with Teleport, and he has the combat summoner to try and solo kill this Rana. And especially when he's able to get a reset, gets the first item for himself, being that AP item that fills into Night Harvester, he looks to just completely snowball the game. And great stuff from Kong Yue to realize Akali can break the game open. Let's try and get a kill on her at level 1.
Yeah, that was a really smart play coming in from Hong Kong Attitude, reading the fight, reading the tea leaves basically from Machi X. They've done this almost every single game. You have seen very aggressive positioning from Lee Kai. And congratulations to Konya, he finally gets his topside scuttle! Woo! This is the first topside scuttle that he's been able to get this entire series. But Hong Kong Attitude, their bot lane's going way too deep. That's a straight 3v2. They do have help from Zoe, and Konya is coming here, but Wing is ticking down. Eminem takes the spear for his support. That's a good support for you. And now Konya has found his target onto Jimmy, and Jimmy already has to flash away. And the fight continues. Wing going down low. We see Atlan jumping away, but still the kill goes over to Gemini. Bivin picks up the flash. Lots of chase potential. They're going on to Jimmy, and Koala body blocks for his mid laner, but he can't take the heat anymore. And that's going to be the mid laner going down for the, I believe, support on the side of Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, immediately we see the power of that buff W from Xin Zhao. You see a very interesting engage coming through from Wing. You think, hang on, why are you engaging into 3 members? But the rest of the team is coming. Jimmy, and he does have gold card prepped. But you see the flash straight away for Kong Yue, trying to gap close onto that TF. Forces the flash as an answer as well. And Machi, you just see Wing, beautiful mount up, catching out Atlan. But he does fall. And it will be the trade going over as you see Kong Yue, after the Void Seeker lands, he will be dashing forward and making sure Jimin does not get out with the W. And that skirmish was very back and forth, very questionable. Both teams were handshaking a fight that didn't really feel black and white. There was a lot of gray, and I feel like that could have gone really, like, a lot worse for either team.
Yeah, I actually felt like if G-Mian wasn't caught out early, that could have been a straight-up win for Machi-X. But now we're going to see a gank onto Atlan. He's going to have to jump over the wall. No pink wards for you. And this is super awkward for the Tristana. If you look at the bottom side, it is littered with Hong Kong Attitude Vision. And Tristana has to push. So, yeah, that's it's not a great situation for Atlan coming into this one. Gemnon, in the meantime, is going to spot out Kong Yue. Gives him a spear to the face, but isn't going to be able to walk into his own bottom side with this much pressure.
Oh, as we see, Jimmy just gets completely chunked down by Bivin. He has hit 6, so he does have the ultimate to try and land some nice paddle stars. But oh, Kong Yue, the gap close he can do once he lands that W has the 1100 units range on his new cap close. That ability has been buffed, Audacious Charge. It allows Hong Kong Attitude to finally have bot lane priority and get themselves a dragon that will not lose their Nexus.
Yeah, this is great things from Hong Kong Attitude, and it really is about this skirmishing composition that I think is working out for them. Zoe, much easier to execute for Bivin, and he's also been finding himself a really decent-sized lead here. In the meantime, Machi-X, they have to send Gemini into the bot side. He has to clear out this bottom lane in order for this Tristana lane to be safe at all. And taking a look at the player gold, so far Rock with that early first blood is going to take the lead. 300 gold over even Kong Yue, and all 3 members of the top side from Hong Kong Attitude are ahead.
Yeah, I mean, with the Akali being put into the top side, going Night Harvester into a Gnar might feel a little bit difficult. She is starting to build into the Rift Maker. She does have the Leeching Leer, which does give her life steal in AP, so she is trying to be able to fight in extended trades against the Gnar. She has gone Conqueror as well. A lot of mid lane Akalis do go the Fleet, but a dive could be happening in the bot side.
Atlan does jump out of the crash down, and Wing is in trouble. Takes a point-blank spear to the face and just dies. That was so weird from Hong Kong Attitude. I don't know why Wing was trying to go in at that point. Like, Kongir's in the top side. They know that the jungle's in bottom, but they still go aggressively for the trade, get punished for it, and now it's their turn to find something back onto the top lane. Lee Kai trying to clear out this wave. He still has the Mega Gnar ultimate, so looks like Hong Kong Attitude are going to wait around for a while. Lee Kai throwing some damage onto Rock just to make sure that he stays alive into this one, and it looks like Hong Kong Attitude have lost their appetite for the tower dive. Never mind, Lee Kai walks close and has to burn his own flash. That was not the play you were looking for.
Once again, Kong Yue showing how the fact that your W procs Audacious Charge now and allows you to jump onto them, it forces a flash from Lee Kai. Lee Kai does so well to go into Mega Gnar, use the ultimate, force Rock to back off, and try to avoid getting dove, and he does force Rock to respect him. But there is Kong Yue who's playing in this Tri-Brush. He knows that he's not on a ward, and he baits Lee Kai into face check, and that's a flash gone for the top lane Gnar. And now Koala, trying to start up a play with Gemini in this top side, will be spotted on the control ward, so they will think better of it. And they'll turn their attention to perhaps starting up Shelly. Gemini will walk over the pit. But 2 kills on this Nidalee. She's starting to really hurt, and Hong Kong Attitude don't really have a traditional tank. You have a fighter in this Xin Zhao, you have Rel who will be building tank items, but she's a support. She doesn't have too much gold. She won't be too incredibly tanky, but Hong Kong Attitude start up Shelly on Vision.
I do also want to point out that this Xin Zhao is not going to go for the Frostfire Gauntlet.
No,
This is not your traditional Xin Zhao in competitive build. I'm really curious at what he's going to end up with. The other builds that we've seen, mainly in the top lane, has been Essence Reaver into Immortal Shield Bow. That's kind of the solo lane build, but I don't think it's that either, so I'm super curious on what this might be. It could be a Triforce sort of carry build coming out from the Xin Zhao. We're going to find out sooner rather than later, and in the meantime, Machi-X, they just play the cross map. They know they can't contest here. That's actually a very sizable win for Machi-X. They zone away 2 waves, and they also get the first brick tower gold. That's not worth it for Hong Kong Attitude.
No, I mean, you see Hong Kong Attitude, they are starting up an objective on Vision. So Atlan and Koala know where the enemy jungler is, they know where Kong Yue is, they know they are safe to make this happen, but Kong Yue diving into Lee Kai.
Lee Kai. Face rush goes in, lots of damage for Kong Yue. Jimian has to try and join. Is he gonna body block? Oh, he doesn't even need to. Bivin actually ticking really low, but he takes the spear to the face. Kongya through the brush with the wind becomes lightning, finds the kill, and Rock picks up a piece for himself. That's 2 unanswered kills on the side for Hong Kong Attitude. In the meantime, though, Machiax trying to play the Demolitionist and just pushing down everything.
You can see Kongyo does so much damage already on this early game skirmisher and forces Likai to play so defensively. We do see the Battlestar does go wide. Jimian does land the gold card onto Bivin, but Kongyo is there waiting in the lurches. It's actually Zoe who grabs the kill there on the back end of the fight. But there's nowhere for Jimian to go. Perfect execution doesn't quite do it, but the Ignite sure will. And that is a 2-0 Akali. Pair that with a kill for Kongyo, a kill for Bivin, and the early game gold is on the early game champions for Hong Kong Attitude. Finally, they have some onus and they're able to make stuff happen in this series. 0-2 down, they're starting to show some life.
Yeah, I also want to mention, you called it. This is the Eclipse build coming out. I did not expect that. That's it's a much more solo queue build than I expected, but we're gonna see how this one actually does out. They have a great start to this fight already, and with the sustain coming out, it's actually gonna be fairly difficult to kill Kongya. A lot of ranged damage dealers, so you have to go into melee range to actually deal damage to Kongya, and with him this fed, I don't think anyone wants to walk into the Crescent card.
I mean, when you see the 2 longswords go out, I immediately think serrated Dirk, and that's exactly what he built. And I was thinking, oh no, Clement's probably right. It's Trinity Force or it's Stride Breaker. It might be something a little bit more safe, but no, Eclipse is the answer. But Rock could be caught here.
Yeah, he's gonna dodge out on the Javelin, nearly goes down, but has to go forward afterwards, and now Kongya comes in from the other side. They have their eyes set on Gemini. He's gonna go down. Koala going in, he only gets 1 stun off, and you can see no one's touching Kongya at this point. They're all ranged damage dealers, so he does go down last, but finally he will die. Likai finds the boulder toss onto him, and Jimian are gonna find the gold card for the chase down. Ultimate comes down, double kill going over, and once again, that was Rock face-checking. He doesn't have the flash, and his team pays dearly for it.
See, Rock has no reason to try and face-check here. He has a control ward, and he, in the river, but he decides to try and get some greedy vision down. He does get punished. We'll see the flash being traded, and Gemini getting first down by the Xin Zhao. So much damage coming through. The Crescent Guard does force Atlan to flash away. He will be using Buster Shot as well, but he does get the kill onto Eminem. He is able to reset by jumping over the wall, but Bivin lands the Sleepy Trouble Bubble into the Paddle Star. But that's just not enough. Margie X come out victorious. They now go 1,000 gold ahead, and they do grab Ocean Dragon as well for themselves. So Margie X are doing what we asked HKA to do. They are stopping the Dragon stacking at 1. They win the team fight, they know they need to make the most of it, and they grab the neutral objective when they can. And now, Marchi X have a way back into this game. You have a 2-in-1 Nidalee. You have a Tristana that has had so many turret plates funneled into her, and you have a fed Gnar. So you have answers to the Akali, to the Xin Zhao, and it will be crucial to see how well Atlan can be peeled off of the Xin Zhao, off of the Assassin. There's so many ways for him to get blown up, but if he is able to navigate these team fights quite well, he will be able to pop off if he doesn't fall early.
Everfrost does stop 2 members, and G-Man is going to be able to walk out barely alive. No, he actually takes the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Javelin does land, and Wing goes in. Can they find the target? That's a lot of crowd control. So well done by Koala. He turns his fight completely around, and Machiax are on the chase. Rock goes down and instantly has to use his E to get away from Machiax chasing down. Bivin finds his mark, but you can't walk up a ramp against Koala. So well done by the cow.
The fact that the Sleepy Trouble Bubble does land onto Jimin kind of baits Hong Kong Attitude into feeling that they can extend so far. The headbutt comes down from Alistar, which buys time for Xin Zhao to not be there, and he just doesn't let Kongyue use the Crescent Strike. And as a result, they do get the first 2 kills there. And it's just Hong Kong Attitude on retreat. And there's nothing that they can do. Munchie X get there before Hong Kong Attitude can. And it's just overextending when you think you can make the play work, when it's more coin flippy in the other team's direction, and it punishes Hong Kong Attitude again. They're overreaching. They're feeling the pressure of playing champions like Zoe, like Zinzao, like Akali, where you need to get going and you need to snowball. But they're just... It's resulting in Marchi X getting a gold lead, and it's now 3k.
Needs to happen. Koala going in again underneath the enemy tower. Eminem has a massive explosive charge on him. He drops!
Oh, no.
He's still at 300 HP. I can't believe that actually still killed him. Nara is going to get the double hop. Still has to flash away. And at least HK do find a bit of respite right here. They're going to be taking away the Drake most likely, but at the same time, Machi X working on the top lane tower plus the Herald. So still a very, very strong win on Machi X's side. Once again, Koala showing up like the MVP of this series.
Koala, time and time again, making the plays happen on the Alistar. And we will see Jimmy and most likely getting... Oh my goodness, this man, he's got the moonwalk, he's got the Nikes, he's just running in and out.
Michael Jackson, is that you? He kind of felt like he drifted backwards on that one. Dodges out on the paddle star. Well done by Jimian. And he survives everything that Bivin can throw at him this point. However, Hong Kong Attitude are going to start this Drake. They already have Kongya on the objective. Nidalee, Gemini is very far away from it, so it just looks like a tower trade for Machi X. They're not even going to try to go into the pit. The question here is, how is Hong Kong Attitude actually going to come back and defend their tier 2? They have a long route to take around here, but it seems like Machi X are just running out of minions. They will have to wait for the Herald to catch back up. And, you know, Machi X are going to respect Hong Kong Attitude coming over their Raptor wall and just back off.
Yeah, one thing I like from Machi X there is they know that they don't necessarily have to contest the Dragon. They have Jimmy and split pushing in the top side. He is able to grab the top tier 1 for himself, and that forces Hong Kong Attitude to panic a little bit. And you do see Bivin, he misses all of his skill shots. You see a Jimmy walking out on this TF, and then as a result, Hong Kong Attitude go, hey, we've chunked down this TF, we are able to secure Dragon, but Machi X don't panic once again. They first take the tier 1 mid. They make sure that Shelly does not charge. They do damage and take it down before she will hurt herself, and allows the second charge to happen. So even though it feels like the neutral does go to Hong Kong Attitude, I feel like Machi X are counter-punching the way Hong Kong Attitude haven't in this series. Yes, we give up a neutral objective, but we will take stuff in return that feels as advantageous. And that's something that Machi X are really good at doing, and they have just stopped Hong Kong Attitude from snowballing the series.
Oh, we see Koya going directly in, but he's not on a tank build. This is the first time in competitive I've actually seen someone go for the Eclipse. It's a much more dangerous build, as you can see, already going down to half HP, but Bivin is there to back him up. They find the crowd control onto the cow, not able to finish up with anything. And at this point, I think Hong Kong Attitude still need to rely on their split pushing. If you look at Eminem, he's so far behind the curve. This isn't even funny for him at this point. Look at Atlan. He's 2 items and a half. Meanwhile, Eminem is struggling to get his first mythic out.
Yeah, I mean, that starts from Atlan just having that first Rift Herald funneled into him with all of those plates. Atlan had the damage early on, had the gold early on to be able to get kills in these fights and be active, whereas Eminem did not have 600 or so gold funneled into him. So that makes it really tough for the Kai'Sa pre-Q Evolve to do anything. And I guess Machi X were willing to funnel it into Atlan. They trusted him, it has paid off, and now this Justana has built quite a large lead over the Kai'Sa. That reset will make it feel a little bit better with the Kraken Slayer being completed for Kai'Sa. So it does feel as though it's only a half item gold lead, but as soon as Atlan does decide to reset, it will be most likely another component being built towards his 3rd item, so the gap will extend once again. But seeing the Phage come out from Xin Zhao, there's only one item he can go from that, and it will be the Starix Gauge, so he is deciding to build some tankiness. He's starting to build a little bit more health, but not necessarily armor, so he'll be very vulnerable to Atlan, to Gemini, and like, you are building bulk in health, but that is not resistances, and I feel like he'll be just much too squishy in these fights.
Yeah, I definitely could see that as a problem, and this is kind of well, I got an early snowball, but then I wasn't able to continue it, so kind of an awkward situation for Kongya here. We see a lot of the times, this is kind of the comeback mechanic in League of Legends. If you build a snowball item and you don't finish the game on it, it can actually come back to bite you. So we'll see how the Steric Gauge can keep the Xin Zhao alive. In the meantime, they really have to find a kill onto Atlan. Kongya is going in. He finds the Wind Becomes Lightning again, and Koala has to pop the Unbreakable Will. They're going to switch over to Jimian. Jimian just comes in at a terrible angle, and he doesn't have a stopwatch. He's going to die immediately. Machi X are getting corralled. This could be the massive comeback. Let's see if Kongya can find the flank right here. He's going for the back. He does have quite a bit of HP, so he's not going to die, and he does go in on the audacious charge, but realizes, oh, geez, these guys pack a lot of punch. So Machi X, at the end of the day, still able to inch out with Kongya nearly just dying. I think he can block that. Yeah, you can't block the damage on the explosive charge.
Wow, this Xin Zhao once again is just he feels paper thin, even though he does have a phage. And the fact that Gemini landing one spear and Atlan is threatening explosive charge proccing into a Xin Zhao forces Kongya to get away and use Crescent Strike. And as we saw the interaction, unless you're within the range of Crescent Strike, Xin Zhao cannot be damaged by you. That includes a explosive charge that will not proc, even though the bomb does feel like it should go off. And like, even though Hong Kong Attitude, they do find a couple picks, it is still a 4,000 gold lead for Machi X. And they need to find something larger. They need to find a fight. They need to find an ace onto Machi X. And starting up this dragon, they could be able to find just that. But Crescent Strike, crucially, is down, as well as the ultimate for Kaiser, so they could be unable to win this one.
Yeah, I think Hong Kong Attitude are actually playing a little bit too scared right here. Honestly, Machi X were missing Unbreakable Will, so they should have just gone straight in. Now they realize their mistake, but no, Gemini still steals away the objective. Wing is down, and Bivin is on the other side of the wall. They lose their complete front line. Eminem goes down without using his flash, and everyone is just dead. Hong Kong Attitude just don't coordinate for a team fight, and they lose everything. Rock is trying to run, but I doubt that he's going to find much success going over to the enemy side of the map, and he does die to the boomerang throw. Hong Kong Attitude find heartbreak and despair in the Drake Pit once more.
Machi X using the Destiny more for vision to know where Hong Kong Attitude are. You do see, it's just so rough. You think, oh, okay, Machi X are coming off this dragon, and they're going to be able to steal this away, but you see Gemini is able to grab that one, and then as a result, Hong Kong Attitude just have to be running away. Machi X are able to win the fight off the back of a nice Gnar ult, and Kongya just gets bursted straight through the Crescent Strike. And then it is, let's try and catch Rock. And he is stunned up, he does get the boulder toss thrown onto him, but he is able to buy quite a bit of time. Li Kai will be hopping over the wall, but that will be on the replay as the boomerang lands onto Rock to take him away. Baron for Machi X, and now that is a 7,000 gold lead for Machi X. You have stopped the dragon stacking successfully. You have a 4-in-1 Tristana. You have a 3-in-1. You have a 3-in-1 Nidalee. You have a Fednar. You have so many members that can disrupt what Hong Kong Attitude want to do. Because if you're like Kylie, go on.
No, I was just looking at that fight, and Hong Kong Attitude were just playing so scared. They didn't need to be that scared. There was no Mega Gnar. There was no Unbreakable Will. You just rush the objective. You have Rock sit on one of the ramps with Twilight Shroud, and you just make sure they can't come in on you. He pops Twilight Shroud on blue ramp, you're completely fine. They don't pull the execution off. Now Bivin is close to death as Koala has to flash away, and the hunt is on. Jimian used the Destiny Gate, not going to go in on a target. But yeah, now Machi X are sitting at an 8k advantage, and they can, afford to take things slow. Hong Kong Attitude, they drafted such an aggressive comp, but I feel like they they just don't have that great measurement of when to play aggro and when not to. Kongre are going to chase down Lee Kai again, but it doesn't look like the rest of the members are actually going to go for this one. Lee Kai's going to be able to walk away. They get the charge, and now Eminem files in with the Killer Instinct. Finally going to get a good play down. Lee Kai does a lot of damage, but he should finally drop. He is dead. Bivin now being chased in his own base. Atlan, that could be too much of an over-aggressive move.
Yeah, we just see Lee Kai buys so much time for the members of Machi X to just be hitting these towers with this Baron buff. He almost outplays and trades a kill. The W will just miss Twisted Fate by the narrowest of margins, so we won't be seeing Kongyue running him down. He'll be trying his best. He does land it again, but Audacious Charge is on cooldown. The Everfrost will root him away, so that is a Twisted Fate on the run. But Hong Kong Attitude do find something. Yes, you have your mid, your inhibitor turrets in your mid and bot lane looking very, very paper thin. But at least Hong Kong Attitude are trying to make stuff happen. They're trying to be proactive, and the problem is it may feel like too little too late. You have gone the aggressive build on the Xin Zhao, you have gone for upfront damage, but you haven't really done anything with your early game lead, and it's allowed Machi X to get back into this one. 4 members for Machi X, the 4 richest in the game. Atlan, 1,200 gold, 3,000 over his enemy AD carry. That is a ridiculous amount of gold. 1 full item over, in fact. The Infinity Edge in the inventory of Lee Kai is exactly what he has over Eminem, and that is so much damage.
Yeah, I feel like Hong Kong Attitude definitely overtraded. Now Kongre is in trouble. He gets bunted back into the enemy team, has to pop everything to stay alive. And he will get out of that, getting the Unbreakable Will from Koala, but at this point, we can see the problem with Hong Kong Attitude's composition. They don't have a single person that can face check. Every brush could spell death for them at this point.
Yeah, having no true tank, no true face check GOAT. Like, you have an R for Machi X. You can just go into these brushes and throw a boomerang and just try and be safe, but you look to Hong Kong Attitude, is it a Sleepy Trouble Bubble? But then that's an ability on cooldown. Is it a Void Seeker? Then that is potentially a tool that Kai'Sa could use to dive into the backline. Will you face check with a Rel? You're level 10. There are members like such as Jimian who is level 16. You can get completely blown up before you can even react. So it's so risky for Hong Kong Attitude to face check anything. They know Infernal is up. They know that they have to contest this one, because the Drake Jet stacking has to continue, because getting Infernal Dragon is crucial if Hong Kong Attitude want any way of winning this game.
They do find a first target onto Atlan, gonna take him down very, very low, but Lee Kai's already in the pit. They're getting corralled once more, and Rock is the target. Double stun into a bounce house for Machi X. They're gonna find the target, but Rock actually survives here. Lee Kai could be the one going down instead. Kongria nearly killed, but Rock doesn't manage to get the assassination. They find Gemini, but the team fight is still going in favor of Machi X. As of now, Kongria is still around with the smite. That means that Machi X can't stop this Drake, and they hang around too long. A great find by Bivin with his natural flash. Gets the kill onto Atlan, and they finally claw one back.
That max range paddle star was so clean from Bivin. Just tagging Atlan and taking him down. And I feel like Atlan feeling as though he had to tank a couple of prior paddle stars in that fight for the rest of his team really cost him. Like, you see the rocket jump is forced out so early, and Atlan is chunked to half health. And it's just Lee Kai feeling as though he needs to make something happen in the backline, and Hong Kong Attitude do get routed by Koala, and so much CC, so much bouncy health, but Rock is able to survive a low amount of health, and he does dive back in with the Shuriken flip. However, he does not have the damage. Gemini gets taken down by the dragon and the Kai'Sa, and now it is beautiful. And crucially, Atlan takes that damage on the first paddle star without the locket actually blocking any damage, and that is the reason why Zoe is able to take him down there with a max range paddle star number 2, and that is shut down on this Zoe. Now that she has the Horizon focus, the Ludens, and is building a Zhonya's, she's going to be able to one-hit Jimian, one-hit Gemini, one-hit Atlan, and that is a lot of danger now for the side of Machi X. They need to make sure it is Koala or Lee Kai checking these brushes, because if it is any of the 3 carries, they might just get completely blown up.
the poke war is on, and we see Atlan going for an early QSS just to make sure that the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is not going to kill him outright. Machi X, they are feigning aggression right here. Destiny Gate pops out, and actually Gemini is really far behind the play, so it's kind of interesting for Machi X. They're just trying to scare Hong Kong Attitude into submission, and their bluff doesn't get called. They successfully do get to push people back. Gemini is going to get vision over the entire river section, and now we see a bit of damage being traded back. Ooh, just a little bit short. Bivin actually is about to go down. He misses the paddle star, and he just dies! Oh, that was painful to see. Now Kongre is the next target. He's going to get chased down. He's dead. Machi X go on into the base. Rock is trying to get a kill amongst 5 enemy members. Gemini gets the double. Heal goes through. They're trying to chase Eminem. He's the last one there, but he can flash out, and Koala dies for his transgressions. But Machi X, they do have a minion wave. They have 4 members alive, and this is looking like the game and the series. Can Eminem find the miracle defend? He has to walk directly back into his base, has the stopwatch to stay alive for a moment more, but finally he goes down as well. Wing the only one up now. It is a carousel of death for Hong Kong Attitude as they try desperately to stop the onslaught, and Machi X, out of nowhere, they close out the series.
Oh my goodness, what looked so good for Bivin lands the nice Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Lee Kai. He just completely misses the paddle star, jumping through the portal. Crucially, the gold card does tag him, so he is stunned up. He gets caught, and that allows Koala once again to engage onto the rest of the members on Hong Kong Attitude, doing a great job. Massive headbutt pulverize, and that just seals the deal. And as a result, Machi X win 3-0 over Hong Kong Attitude. At times it looked a little bit scary, but at the end of the day, Machi X, the stronger team on paper, triumphed over Hong Kong Attitude quite convincingly. Congratulations.
Oh, just when the Bivin rocket was about to launch, it blows up in the atmosphere. I was a little bit sad to see. I felt like he was starting to have a really good game. He was starting to get a feel of himself, but the rookie will not find... Oh, isn't exactly a rookie, but Hong Kong Attitude's mid laner will not find the success that he was looking for. Unfortunately, this is going to be their end of the playoffs, while Machi X will move on to face J-Team. This is going to be a super interesting match, and one that we look forward to. But, of course, first, we will have to close off this series by talking about what happened once more. How did everything transpire to get to this point? Hong Kong Attitude had the early game lead. What happened?
They got the early game lead. They had the gold where they wanted it, but they just felt tentative. Like, they felt nervous. They knew it was an elimination game for them. They knew if they lost, they would be sent home, and I feel like that got the better of them, because around these fights, like you mentioned, they were just a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger. They were waiting that little bit too long, and it felt like Kong Yue had a little bit of nerves on the Xin Zhao and wasn't able to make what he needed to happen with his early game advantage. Like, we saw that dragon fight. Yes, he didn't have Crescent Strike, but there was no Unbreakable Will for the Alistar. So if he gets CC'd up, he's taken down, no tank for him. And crucially, there is no Atlan at the beginning. And they just wait and they wait and they wait and they wait far too long. And it's Machi X snowballing the game from that point on.
Yeah, for me, in the early mid-game, there was 2 plays where I really felt like Hong Kong Attitude didn't need to give over. The first one was the over-rotate for Herald. They actually lost the entire bot lane tower and all 5 plates for that. And to me, it was really smart by Machi. They knew that they could just avoid the Herald play where Hong Kong Attitude were strong to get the advantage. If you look around the 15-minute mark, that's when it happened. And the other play was Rock just face-checking. He did 7,000 damage this game, barely more than the support. Rock face-checking and Hong Kong Attitude losing 3 kills meant that the Eclipse Xin Zhao just couldn't do anything anymore. Like, it is so sad when you build a lethality mythic and then you don't build any lethality items afterwards. You're like, well, I guess I'm not going to use lethality because I'm too far behind.
Yeah, building a snowball item is super coin flippy, because if you're unable to continue the snowball, it just falls apart for you. And devastating to see Rock. He gets first blood on the Akali. He starts boots, but I feel like the damage dealt to Champions really says it all, and it was all Lee Kai. I mean, that Nah, time and time again, following up on Koala's engages. He was always there to land the hop into the Nah ult, but my MVP, our MVP, will be Koala, finally getting his due. 1-1-17 on the Alistar, 90% kill participation. This man, he was everywhere on the Rift, and I am so glad they finally gave him MVP.
The support gap was massive in this game. The bot lane 2v2 kill, the ability to close off ramps and turn around engages when Machi X were on the back foot was what allowed them to come back into the game. Really well-deserved MVP coming in from Koala. And with that, we are going to be taking a short break. And after we come back, we will have an interview with one of the members from the winning squad, Machi X.
大家好，我是英文台的主播 Rira 然后这次的赛后采访很高兴欢迎 Maggi 队的辅助 Koala 你好。
大家好，我是 Koala。
Hey guys, I'm Rira I'm here today for the post-match winner interview. Of course, Maggi Esports support Koala for the interview. Our first question we want to ask is, of course, we're all watching that 3-0 victory. Just tell us your thoughts about that, and also that Game 3, a couple of mistakes here and there. Just explain. 那首先当然要恭喜你们获得今天3-0的胜利，能够就说一下你们之前有没有预测到会这么轻松的3-0拿下今天的比赛吗？还有就可以跟大家解释一下就那第3把的小失误。
就是我们打 HK 的话，我们就是有预测可能会3-1这样，就是算还是可以拿下这场比赛的。然后第3把小失误可能就是因为一等就是我们想说打套路，然后因为可能上路离开就是失误吧，然后我们就他一开始就被手杀，所以导致我们第3场一开始有点困难这样。
So you said that initially coming into today's series, they were kind of expecting that versus HKA, they would probably end up with a 3-1 sort of scoreline. And then he said by the time, they got to game 3, they were kind of trying to do some other fresh strategies at the start of game 3. So especially in the early game, there was a part where Lee Kai over on top think he was getting ganked. And then he wasn't able to deal with that very well. And then so he got killed early on, and they kind of caused them to be on the back foot at the start of the game, and that just kind of led to just them being disadvantaged towards the rest of the game. Great. So our next question is going to be a bit on these kind of compositions that you guys have been picking over in the bot lane. We wanted to ask you about just Atlan's champion pool and the sort of AD champions that he's picked, and whether or not you guys have practiced or have considered picking things such as Senna and Tamkench duo in the bot lane. 那接下来问题想问的就是在集合赛Atlan 就有选那些大后期的 AD， 然后感觉效果似乎不太好。那你们最近是有没有考虑让他选 Senna， 然后辅助就拿 Tank 这些比较功能的组合吗？还是有练习到吗？
就因为大后期 AD 的话，就阵容的话会比较偏后期，然后因为可能最近练的就是可能比赛效果不是很好。但是我们有准备，就是3大坦克棋，就是来就是应对这些，就是像上礼拜的失误，就是放了之后打不过这样。
So he said that, of course, if you're going to pick that type of scaling AD carry, then of course it means that your team composition is going to be one of those where you want to play for a late game. So he said that last week, when they were trying it, it didn't really work out for them. They did practice it, but the way that it turned out in the results is kind of like it's not working out for them, and they don't think that they're confident in using this type of composition to win. So the next question that I wanted to ask you guys is, of course, congrats on getting the MVP in game number 3. We saw it towards the end of the broadcast. But mostly for your team, it seems as if Gemini and Lee Kai, your jungler and your top laners, have kind of looked like they've been fighting for MVP for the entire season. I think Gemini is at the top of the MVP rankings right now. Last week in one of our winner interviews, we asked Enzo about how the way their team works when someone gets MVP, like what happens, and he said, actually, when my mid wins MVP, he has to buy me dinner. So I just wanted to ask, on your team, is there any sort of agreement like that, or do you all really fight for MVP at all? How does it go? 那接下来问题就是想问关于 MVP 的话呢，首先恭喜你获得第3榜那个 MVP。可是就看你们 Maggi 队的比赛，就你们好像大概都是 Gemini 还有立凯都感觉一直都在互相抢 MVP。Gemini 应该好像是拿了可能8次的 MVP 了吧。然后上周的赛后采访我问过 Enzo， 他说就 当他的中单拿下 MVP 的时候，中单会请他吃饭，所以我就想问，就你们的队伍当中，你们是不是有讨论过哦，谁拿 MVP，今晚谁请客，还是你们有没有抢 MVP 之类的吗？
就因为我们的那个 AD 阿伦是还没有拿到 MVP，所以如果他拿到了，他可能需要请我们吃饭这样子。因为我们也很希望他能拿，因为他是有些场次都打得还不错，但是不知道为什么就是都没有拿 MVP，然后都被举办人拿走，对吧？然后就就是都会用 MVP 嘲讽他。
So he said on their team, their AD carry Atlan actually has never gotten MVP before, so he's got it. Lee Kai, Gemini have also won MVP, and Jimian has also won MVP. So on their team, they actually just make fun of Atlan. They're like, "You're the only one who's never gotten MVP." But Koala said actually he's really hoping that soon Atlan will be able to win the MVP, and he said that when that happens, he's gonna make Atlan buy them dinner. 好的，那这一个问题想问的就是昨天的赛后采访，我问了小 V， 他说，我问他就明天的比赛，他比较希望是打你们的队还是 HKA， 然后他说，因为他跟你的关系很好，所以他比较希望是会对上你。然后你有什么想跟他说的吗？还是有什么感受 ？So yesterday's interview, we were asking Lil V, which team he would rather face in tomorrow's match. Is it Maji or is it going to be HKA? And Lil V said he has a great relationship with Koala on Maji, so he would rather see Koala in Sunday's match. So Koala, what are your thoughts?
因为我跟小 V 就是已经当了很久的朋友，因为我刚开始就是打职业就是认识他了。然后如果我想明天跟他打，应该也会很开心。毕竟我们场下的朋友，但是场上还是就是要为自己队友努力啊。然后因为如果打败认识的，其实会蛮开心的。虽然他可能会难过一下子，但是其实自己不管是我赢还是他赢的，他都会觉得很开心。
So he said that he has been friends with Lil V for a very long time, ever since Koala started playing professionally. That was actually when he met Lil V. So it's been a lot of years, and that's why their relationship is so good. He said that he's actually pretty happy to be able to play versus Lil V in tomorrow's match. Tomorrow is an elimination best of 5. And he said that because their relationship is so good, actually he thinks that regardless of whether Koala's team wins or Lil V's team wins, he thinks that they will both be happy. I mean, of course, they'll be sad that their team loses, and they'll, of course, be trying their hardest so that their own team can win. But if they do lose, he thinks that for both of them, they'll be happy regardless of which team makes it into next week. So very nice sentiment to round off our interview. Thank you so much, Koala, for doing our post-match winner interview, and of course, good luck tomorrow. 好的，那非常感谢 Koala 接受这次的赛后采访，祝 Maji 明天也加油，谢谢。
Yeah.
Stairs back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Ray Chu, for the exciting interview. And we just heard that Koala is prepared to test out the limits of solidarity. The G-Rex bottom lane now on their own different teams after the dinosaurs have gone extinct, and they're going to face each other next. Machi X versus J-Team. So much history here. Mission playing on both teams, and just like you heard, the bot lane duo that used to be together. We're going to have to talk about that series quite a lot, and that's going to be happening tomorrow. So, I want to kind of pick your brains and get your outlook on that banger of BO5 coming up next.
I think it was super funny to hear Koala being polite and saying that he'd be happy to see Lil V win. I think he would be happy for Lil V. I think there is no way in the world he would be happy if J-Team defeat Machi X tomorrow.
Oh no.
I feel like that's him being super humble, super nice, not wanting to burn any bridges with his former teammate. But I'm expecting tomorrow to be the closest series we've had so far. Every series feels like it's been very one-sided, or it feels as though there was a favorite going in. Tomorrow, I feel like it's starting to get to the pointy end where anyone could win. And Personally, I think that Magix's looks so good coming up, and I feel like today they looked sloppy at times, but I feel like when it mattered most, Gemini is just feeling like such a strong jungler, and if he makes Kongyue look that weak, a jungler who we have so much hype surrounding, I feel like he's gonna be such a hard task for J-Team to handle, and I feel like the potential MVP jungler could be the difference. So I'm going MachiX.
All right, let's go. I have MachiX myself at 3-1, but I'm actually feeling super shaky about this one. I feel like Mission and Rest have had better performances overall. We'll see if they can hold up their side of the bargain tomorrow as we go in back at 5 p.m. And we are heading ever closer to the finals for PCS. I know that the LCK has already had their finals and the LPL is closing in on the same dates, but please stay on with us as we see who the PCS representative is going to be on the 18th. It's been a great broadcast day. I want to thank my co-caster Verbatim and also the production for keeping everything tidy and smooth. It has been, for me, your host and play-by-play Clement Chu. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we have more action lined up for you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Please come back and join the show. Have a great day, and goodbye for now.